Ujira, pure, mine, nation, mine, west, land of the setting Aten, the setting sun. Ujira mine, the purified nation, Apurai Kandu, Apurai Kaitnut, African people, black people, in the land of the setting Aten, sun, the western hemisphere. Ujira mine, the purified nation, spirit genetic descendants of our ancestresses and ancestors of Apurai Ka, Apurai Kayet, Africa, who were forced into the western hemisphere during the Umusuo Kessie, the great perversity, the enslavement era. Ujira mine, spirit genetic descendants of those Apurai Kani, Apurai Kaitni ancestresses and ancestors who maintained our ancestral religion, culture, and identity as a nation, and therefore effectively waged war against the whites and their offspring, massacred the whites and their offspring with metal armaments and through chemical and biological weapons of warfare, thereby forcing the end of enslavement in North America, Central America, South America, and the Caribbean. Ujira mine, spirit genetic descendants of those Apurai Kani, Apurai Kaitnit ancestresses and ancestors who established independent, sovereign nations, towns, cities, secure in their sovereignty in the Western Hemisphere after liberating themselves from enslavement through war. Amaniye, nationism. Apurai Kani, Apurai Kaitnit nationism. African black nationism. The recognition of the Apurai Kani, Apurai Kaitnit nation, the African nation, the black nation, as a living, breathing entity, an organic entity, of which Apurai Kanu, Apurai Kaitnit, Africans, black people, are a component part, an organic entity, governed by a unique spirit, of which each Apurai Kani, Apurai Kaitni individual shares. Individual function, family function, clan function, ethnic function, the building blocks and governing structure of nationism, rooted in the unique energy of the region of Asase Afua, our fertile earth mother upon which we dwell, and the blending of Apurai Kani, Apurai Kaitni ancestral blood circles, governed by specific aboson, deities within the Oman, the nation, reflective of the divine order of creation. Amaniye, nationism. Apurai Kani, Apurai Kaitni nationism, the purification of nationalism, the completion of the task begun by our ancestresses and ancestors, the restoration of our spirit genetic identity, our clans, our ethnicities, our collective function as Ujira mine, the purified nation of Apurai Kanu, Apurai Kaitnut in the Western Hemisphere, restored upon our own sovereign territory in Apurai Ka, Apurai Kayet, and in the Western Hemisphere, independent, self-governing, and secure in the absolute defense of our sovereignty and the complete eradication of our enemies.
And you've seen what can happen to fighters. You've seen those shambling wrecks that go around. You see them at every boxing occasion. And what people are frightened of is they don't want that to happen to you.
What? Be a shambling wreck?
That's right. Yeah.
I'm a long ways from being a shambling.
Oh, I'm not suggesting you are now. I'm saying that's what they're frightened that might happen.
See, my thinking is so superior, and my knowledge is so positive, and my logic is so wise until it clashes with the mentality, which is down here and I'm up there. So by me being so high, I can see more and see farther than you. And you're looking up at me saying, Ali, don't do it. Ali, please stop me, it hurts. and you're on a job making 60, 70 pounds a week, or whoever this guy is. Never been out of the country, not known in his own neighborhood. Ali, don't do it. But I'm at such a high level until I don't think like you. I'm not like you. I know I say you, I mean the other person.
But you know why they say that. I mean, it's for the best
Because
possible reasons, though.
They fear and they are wary. It looks dangerous to them.
That's
but
right.
It's not really that dangerous to me.
Yeah, and it's,
Just another day.
And it's the affection they have for you. They've never felt about another boxer like they felt about you.
Oh, that's so nice.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. To talk more about the life and legacy of Muhammad Ali, we are joined by two guests. Ishmael Reed, educator, writer, activist. His new book is The Complete Muhammad Ali. Reed is recipient of the MacArthur Genius Award and is currently a visiting scholar at the California College of the Arts. And in New York, we're joined by poet and professor Elizabeth Alexander. She's the Director of Creativity and Free Expression at the Ford Foundation, former Chair of African American Studies at Yale University, author of the poem Narrative Ali, written from the perspective of Muhammad Ali. Elizabeth Alexander recited the inaugural poem when President Obama first took office in 2009. We welcome you both to Democracy Now! Ishmael Reed, why don't we begin with you? Can you start off by sharing your reaction to hearing of the death of Muhammad Ali and talk about why you spent years researching his life?
Well, I think that his death sort of represents a great tragedy because this is a man who stayed in the ring too long, was abandoned by his entourage, was broke, and suffering from brain damage when he fought his last two fights, according to Angelo Dundee, his trainer. It's a great tragedy, and without the intervention of his current wife, I think he might have died a long time ago. So I'm very skeptical about this adulation that's happening now, because none of those people who are praising him wanted to rescue him or try to intervene when, for example, he was suffering horrible physical damage from taking punches from people like Larry Holmes. So I think that this is a great tragedy. I think that not enough attention has been given to the influence of the Nation of Islam on Muhammad Ali. You played some of his speeches. Those speeches were taken right out of Elijah Muhammad's A Message to the Black Man. So I think that this is a great flaw. And what I'm hearing from commentators about his death is that without the Nation of Islam, nobody would have ever heard of Muhammad Ali.
Ishmael, can you start off by giving us a thumbnail sketch of Muhammad Ali's life?
Well, he grew up in a middle-class home. His father, Cash, was a great provider. He was a man who earned a living by painting signs. I went to Louisville and talked to some of the people who knew Muhammad Ali when he was growing up. So he lived a relatively comfortable life. I also interviewed Rahman, his brother, who said the same thing, that they were provided for, and I'm always sort of like offended by the fact that some of the biographers of Muhammad Ali dismissed Cash as some kind of alcoholic or some ne'er-do-well. This is a man who lived up to his responsibilities. I interviewed Ed Hughes, the late Ed Hughes, who was Muhammad Ali's oldest friend. And he talked about how Muhammad Ali had the gift of gab and could spout and express himself, and how he's very generous, would give people whom he didn't know. For example, in the Philippines, he gave a man $25,000. So he's very generous with his money and with giving to charities. So I think he'll be remembered as somebody with a big heart. But on the other hand, he had hangers-on and parasites and people who conned him, took his money, got him involved in criminal enterprises, used his name. So this is a great tragedy. This is a kid who had a big heart and was just exploited all the way up to the last fight, or the second last fight, when he fought Larry Holmes, where he was shortchanged money that was owed to him for that fight. And the attorney who was suing Don King, when he heard that Muhammad Ali was swindled, he burst out into tears. So it's a sad story.
In 1964, Malcolm X spoke out in support of Muhammad Ali after the press began to attack him for joining the Nation of Islam.
Well, he's never been involved in any trouble. His record is clean. He's actually an all-American boy, or an all-African boy, as you will. And an effort on the part of the press to attack him actually hurts America all over the world. I've gotten letters from countries myself, foreign countries, expressing confidence and pride in the clean image that Cassius represents. And I think to attack him, especially on religious grounds, would be most destructive to America's image abroad. My advice always to Brother Cassius is that he never do anything that will in any way tarnish or take away from his image as the heavyweight champion of the world, because I frankly believe that Cassius is in a better position than anyone else to restore the a sense of racial pride to not only our people in this country, but all over the world. And he is trying his best to live a clean life and project a clean image, but despite this, you find the press is constantly trying to paint him as something other than what he actually is. He doesn't smoke, he doesn't drink. In fact, if he was white, they would be referring to him as the all-American boy, like they used to refer to Jack Armstrong.
So that's Malcolm X talking about Muhammad Ali, the fact that he had converted. Ishmael Reed, and over the weekend, you know, the media was filled with images and discussions of Muhammad Ali. And there were a number of photos that would go by of him standing with Malcolm X, but there was almost no reference. I mean, I didn't see any reference to that relationship. Talk about his decision to join the Nation of Islam, his relationship with Malcolm X.
Well, you know, I think it's a mistake to say that Malcolm X recruited Muhammad Ali for the Nation of Islam. Actually, it was a man named Abdul Rahman, whose name before that was Sam X. Muhammad Ali saw Rahman selling copies of Muhammad Speaks in Florida and approached him and told Rahman that he'd been reading Muhammad Speaks, and it was Rahman who invited him into the nation. Now, many people talk about that famous expression, no Vietnamese ever call me the N-word, as they say nowadays. That was created by Rahman. They were at a house. The Muslim women were cooking for the gathering there, and the reporters were outside. Ali comes in and says, ask Rahman what he should tell them. And Rahman says, tell them that no Vietnamese ever called you nigger. So that's one of the mythologies that we hear about Ali's career. Now, back up some, he also was following the precedent of Elijah Muhammad, who's some sort of boogeyman, even though he organized people, brought in $70 million a year, started cattle farms, which were sabotaged by racists, and was engaged in international trade. I mean, there was the other side to it. I mentioned that, the criminals who were involved in the Nation of Islam. But Elijah Muhammad refused to fight in World War II. He was a conscientious objector in World War II because he would not fight the Asiatic black man. This is where Ali gets his idea of not fighting the Vietnamese. As a matter of fact, Elijah Muhammad went around the country making pro-Japanese speeches. They tried to get him for sedition. They couldn't get him for sedition, so they got him as a draft dodger, and he spent 5 years in prison. So a lot of people don't understand that when the Japanese Navy defeated what was considered a white nation, the Soviet Union, in 1905, or Russia, Tsarist Russia, excuse me, in 1905, there was rejoicing all over the country. People like W. Du Bois, George Schuyler, and others praised this as a victory of a black nation over a white nation, imperialist nation. So this was the kind of background that led to Muhammad Ali refusing to fight in the Vietnam War.
This is a clip from the documentary The Trials of Muhammad Ali, featuring Abdul Rahman Muhammad, who helped introduce Ali to the Nation of Islam.
Cassius Clay was training for the Sonny Liston fight for the heavyweight championship. I wanted him to be a registered Muslim. When you come into Islam, we write a letter saying we believe in the teachings, and we put our slave name in the letter. Those names the slave master had when they owned our ancestors. So he wrote his letter, sent it off to Chicago, and then they sent back what we call X. He became Cassius X. And then the promoters, they was trying to get Ali to denounce the religion. And they told Ali, you got to get rid of the Muslim cooks, and Captain Sam, that's me, and denounce that religion, otherwise there ain't gonna be no fight. Well, Ali'd been training all his life for the fight for the heavyweight championship, so that's something that scare a man to death. I said, oh man, don't believe that. I said, money is the white man's God, and I said, you the only one can make any money from him. I said, hold to your belief.
After Cassius Clay changed his name to Muhammad Ali, many news outlets refused to use his name. The debate over his name even extended into the ring. During a 1966 interview with Howard Cosell, Muhammad Ali accused challenger Ernie Terrell of being an Uncle Tom for refusing to call him Muhammad Ali.
You continue to be unafraid of this man.
Yeah, I'd like to say something right here. You know, Cassius Clay, yes.
Why do you want to say Cassius Clay when Howard Cosell and everybody is calling you Muhammad Ali? Now, why you got to be the one of all people whose color to keep saying Cassius Clay?
Howard Cosell is not the one who's going to fight you. I am.
You making it really hard on yourself now.
Well,
why don't you keep the thing in the sport angle? Why don't you call me my name, man?
Well, what's your name? You told me your name was Cassius Clay a few years ago.
I never told you my name was Cassius Clay. My name is Muhammad Ali. You just acting just like an old Uncle Tom. Another Floyd Patterson. I'm going to punish you.
Let me tell you something, man. You ain't got no business.
Back off of me.
Don't call me no Uncle Tom.
That's what you are, Uncle Tom.
Why are you going to call me Uncle Tom? I ain't do nothing.
You heard me? Just back off of me.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, as the two contestants prepare for battle right now,
back off of me, man. Back off of me, man.
Another interview has been recorded for posterity as the two gentlemen continue to promote the fight.
So that was Howard Cosell with Muhammad Ali and Ernie Terrell. And Ishmael Reed, in the midst of that fight, which Muhammad Ali won, as he was punching Ernie Terrell, he was saying, "What's my name? What's my name?" Is that right?
Well, I think that's the showmanship that we expected of Muhammad Ali. Floyd Patterson recalls an incident where he ran into Muhammad Ali and called him Cassius Clay, and he wasn't offended. He says, perfectly all right if you call me Cassius Clay. But I think some of those antics that we hear from Muhammad Ali was to sort of like juice the gate up. He got these antics from Gorgeous George. Many people don't remember Gorgeous George, who was this flamboyant wrestler. And according to Rahman Ali, Muhammad Ali had seen Gorgeous George in Louisville. Gorgeous George used to get up in these flamboyant costumes, and he was like the villain. He was a heavy, and he boasted a lot. I think Donald Trump is influenced by both Ali and Gorgeous George. He played the heavy to sweeten the gate, and he sort of like played at androgyny. But nobody's going to pick a fight with Gorgeous George or question his manhood. Clark Blaze, who's a great French-Canadian writer, I interviewed him, and he said when he heard that the heavyweight champion of the world was calling himself pretty, he knew there had been a change in the culture of boxing.
And his resistance...
Now, one more thing, Amy, I wanted to mention this. Ernie Terrell was considered the mob fighter. There was my book was published in Canada, and so some of my passages have a Canadian emphasis. There was a showdown between organized crime, which ran boxing up to the Nation of Islam, introduced an organization called Main Bouts. The showdown happened in Toronto. Ali and Herbert Muhammad were warned that if Ali didn't take a dive and didn't, fall to Ernie Terrell, he would wind up at the bottom of Lake Michigan. Now, according to George Chuvalo, whom Ali fought, the man who made the threat was paid a visit by the Nation of Islam. And you want to know what happened after that? You can read my book.
Reverend Chris Antall, I was wondering if we could end with you reading your resignation letter to President Obama in your own words.
I'd be glad to do that. Dear Mr. President, I hereby resign my commission as an officer in the United States Army. I resign because I refuse to support U.S. armed drone policy. The executive branch continues to claim the right to kill anyone, anywhere on earth, at any time, for secret reasons, based on secret evidence in a secret process undertaken by unidentified officials. I refuse to support this policy of unaccountable killing. I resign because I refuse to support U.S. nuclear weapons policy. The executive branch continues to invest billions of dollars into nuclear weapons, which threaten the existence of humankind and the earth. I refuse to support this policy of terror and mutually assured destruction. I resign because I refuse to support U.S. policy of preventive war, permanent military supremacy, and global power projection. The executive branch continues to claim extra constitutional authority and impunity from international law. I refuse to support this policy of imperial overstretch. I resign because I refuse to serve as an empire chaplain. I cannot reconcile these policies with either my sworn duty to protect and defend America and our constitutional democracy or my covenantal commitment to the core principles of my religious faith. These principles include justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, a free and responsible search for truth, a commitment to the democratic process, and the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Respectfully submitted, Christopher John Antall.
Reverend Chris Antall, minister for the Unitarian Universalist Congregation now at Rock Tavern, New York, founder of the Hudson Valley, New York chapter of Veterans for Peace. He has served as a U.S. Army chaplain in Afghanistan before publicly resigning over the Obama administration's drone warfare program. He wrote that letter to President Obama in April.
Let us start our class with a prayer.
In the name of the African ancestors who began the march of humankind in the womb of Mother Africa, we ask these ancestors to be with us, to strengthen us, and give us a vision for the future. In the name of the African ancestors who began the march of humankind in the womb of Mother Africa and marched down the Nile, laying the foundations for human civilization and culture, we ask these Africans to be with us, to strengthen us, and give us a vision for the future. In the name of these African ancestors who built their pyramids and their temples to their God concepts, to their principles, and to their moral values, who left us a legacy of architectural and monumental building unparalleled in the history of the world, we ask these ancestors who built the pyramids, who built the temples, to be with us, to strengthen us, and give us a vision for the future. We ask these African ancestors who took this African culture and extended it throughout Africa, building the stone cities of Zimbabwe, building the empires of the Sudan, Ghana, Mali, and Songhai, building the Swahili city-states along the east coast of Africa, and in Christian Africa asking King Lalibela and giving him the courage to build the 12 churches of Lalibela from the ground down, monuments to the world. We ask these Africans who spread this culture to the Dogo and to the Akan and to the Yoruba and to the Bankango and to the Zulu. We ask these Africans to be with us, to strengthen us, and give us a vision for the future. In the name of the Africans who opened up Africa, opened up the Nile Valley to other cultures and other peoples, and they came in and nurtured themselves on the African greatness. First coming in early with the ancient Hebrews, and they synthesized this culture and produced Judaism. Later coming in were the Christians, and they synthesized this culture and produced Christianity. Coming in were also the Greeks, who took the African culture, synthesized it, and produced Greek civilization. And then later, the Prophet Muhammad, and with the Arabs coming into the Nile Valley, they synthesized the culture and produced Islam. We ask these African ancestors who as part of their legacy laid the foundations for Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and Greek civilization to be with us, to strengthen us, and give us a vision for the future. We ask those African ancestors pulled out of Africa, taken to the hells of North America, South America, the Caribbean, maintaining the spirit of African humanity in their hearts and in their minds, and who left us this enormous legacy of struggle. We ask those Africans who resisted enslavement in the villages of Africa, who resisted enslavement in the shores of Africa, who resisted enslavement in those forts and dungeons, who resisted enslavement in the holds of those ships, who resisted enslavement when they arrived on these shores in the New World. We ask these Africans who ran into the highlands of northeast Brazil and established for 100 years the first free republic in the Americas, the Republic of Palmares, and their last great leader, Zumbi, whose spirit and sacrifice. We ask these Africans who replicated the Brazilian experience and went into the highlands of Jamaica and became the maroon free communities. We ask these Africans who went into the backwoods of the Guyanas and Suriname and created free republic of the Suramaka and the Ajuka. We ask these Africans who went into the backwoods of Georgia and the swamps of Florida and moved with the Seminole Indians and resisted oppression. We ask these Africans who left us a legacy of struggle and resistance, the likes of which no one in the world has, to be with us, to strengthen us, and give us a vision for the future. We ask these Africans who created and laid for us a foundation of struggle and resistance that was passed on generation after generation, that was passed on to Harriet Tubman, who fought her way out of enslavement and became a symbol of freedom for all of us. Similarly, Frederick Douglass and hundreds of thousands of others fought their way out of enslavement. We asked those Africans who went with Boukman Dessalines to create the greatest revolutionary experience in the history of the world, the Haitian Revolution, leaving us a legacy, the likes of which no one else has had. We ask these Africans to be with us, to strengthen us, and give us a vision for the future.
Speak truth to the people. To identify the enemy is to free the mind. Free the mind of the people. Speak to the mind of the people. Speak truth.
We're coming from a weekend where we heard and have been focused on the transcending of a great Pan-Africanist and boxer Muhammad Ali. A man who stood when so many others bowed under the pressure of racism. A man who stood without apology against imperialism and colonization. And he did so at a time when it meant that if you took that stand, if you took that stance, you were likely to be thrown in jail, thrown in prison, and you were likely to lose your livelihood, as was proven in his case, and yet he stood. And because he stood, so many others, generations of African people were able to rise and to stand on his shoulders. But we're also going to be revisiting this morning a conversation that we from time to time have touched on here, have gone into details and others here in various forms. And last week we actually spoke to the chairman or the chairperson of the Cannabis Licensing Authority, and in that conversation she told us that by Tuesday, last Tuesday, we would have had access and been able to go to the Cannabis Licensing Authority website and to download the application forms for licenses, and then also just get in more detail the requirements and so on. But when we were having that conversation with her, and what we were able to glean from the discussion, I asked her the question as to whether or not this was prohibitive to a whole tranche, a whole set of Jamaicans who would be interested in either continuing farming ganja or benefiting from this newly apparently liberalized sector, industry. And she said it wasn't, but that persons had to fill these forms out, apply, because persons had to meet the trade requirements, international standards and so on, and that because we had signed on to so many treaties that prohibited the trade in and the cultivation of ganja, of cannabis, that there were so many hurdles to jump. And that made sense, but then we have gone to the website and have been looking at the application checklist and procedures. My mind is even more made up that this is prohibitive. This is prohibitive to a lot of current ganja farmers, because you're in an industry that was it was considered illegal, but we know people are still farming. Many have gone to prison, served time, and possibly and was so criminalized that their lives have been destroyed forever. Others have served time and have been in and out of prison for this one thing, cultivating or in possession of marijuana. So now that the industry is being regularized to some extent, it's apparent, it looks, as if to some extent, because there is also, as far as I'm concerned, a deception there too. And whether it is deliberate or not, there is a deception. Too many people do not understand what this new process entails and the extent to which they are excluded from the process, and that is why it becomes deceptive. We hope to speak also quickly with our sister Jamoki. Jamoki has been following, and as I said a few weeks ago when we talked about our Nigerian brothers who were viciously murdered here in Jamaica, burnt to death, or murdered and then burnt to death, or then burnt out, but burnt and left in a minibus. No justice, no response, no outrage. We hear they're Nigerians and we move on. As a matter of fact, what these two brothers have received is judgment, because they're Nigerians, because they're from the continent of Africa, judged harshly, vilified. That is without cause, without cause. So the minute you hear that two Nigerians are murdered in Jamaica, and what is shocking, even still, about the response to these murders. Both of the two Nigerians who were left in that burnt-out minibus, whose burnt remains were left in that burnt-out minibus, and both of a Nigerian and the other Nigerian who was killed in Bamboo, and his wife viciously, brutally shot up. That what this has shown is our callousness, the kind of a callousness that must be a result of a psychic trauma as a result of slavery, the enslavement of the mind. And that is why we talk about breaking the cycle of mental control, because the hatred that we have, African people have for themselves, is palpable, so that our suffering, our pain inflicted on us by us carrying out the colonizers' job. So this is where we are. This is what we have to face when we talk about how we deal with each other, how we feel pain and we cry when Europeans, when white people suffer, when white children go missing, when white children are killed, how black people cry, how African people cry, and rightly, because we should cry. But when our own, who look like us, are killed, suffer, brutally murdered, we immediately think that it has to be a bigger picture. The victim is criminalized by us, our thinking. And that is a situation that we're gonna have to face at some point. That is the crux of the matter, how we feel about ourselves, and then how we treat others, feeling the way we feel about ourselves. It is a situation, a cause for concern. So we want to talk quickly with our sister Jamoki, who is on top of this situation. She brought it to my attention, and she's going to just give us a quick update. We still haven't got anything from the police in either case. It's just out there. We have written to and spoken to persons at the Nigerian High Commission to find out what they're hearing, what they have heard. The High Commissioner, we're told, is off the island, has been off the island for a while now, it appears, and no one, it seems, is able to speak to this issue until the High Commissioner returns. Last thing we heard, and my broadcast assistant Shamara can fill me in on this because she's been calling the Nigerian Commission every day. Last thing we heard is that the Nigerian High Commission is now waiting for the go-ahead from Nigeria to speak on the situation. So that is the last we heard about that, and that was just a few days ago. In terms of Bamboo and the murder of a Nigerian there, we are told by the police that this is an ongoing investigation. We're going to keep on top of a situation. Once again, we know that on Friday night, one of the greatest, as he calls himself, joined his great ancestors. Muhammad Ali used his platform of success in and outside of the ring in defense of and to inspire and vindicate the black race, his black race. Kwame Ture said of Muhammad Ali, young people today have no real idea what Muhammad Ali meant to our generation of black people in the world. He was to us our warrior saint. What was different with Muhammad Ali was his unconquerable moral courage and principle. His obvious undying love of our people. When Muhammad said, I don't have to be what you want me to be, that was a declaration of independence of our entire generation. I'll say that again later on, but those are the words from Kwame Ture about Muhammad Ali.
Hide nothing from the masses of the people. Tell no lies. Expose lies whenever they are told. Mask no difficulties, mistakes, failures. Claim no easy victory. When we lose our African connection, we lose our royal connection. When we disconnect ourselves from Africa, we cease to be a world people. Without the African connection, we are a disjointed people begging for the entry to somebody else's house.
Sound of Carlos JJ to kick things off. Carlos JJ will be with us here in Jamaica along with his band, 14 strong, for a tribute to Morlimu Marcus Messiah Garvey on August 21, inshallah. Carlos JJ, the father of reggae music in Africa.
See my true colors. If you wanna hate me the rest of your life, touch me. Push me. Rock me. Back me. Don't trouble before it troubles you, 'cause if I trouble you,
would also like to congratulate them on their great, splendid stand to stop the bloody war that's now going on in Vietnam. And as a Muslim minister, my own outlook on war and violence is well known by now. And I would like to say that the number one greeting in my faith is peace, and that is Assalamu alaikum, which means may peace be unto you. There have been many questions put to me why I refuse to be inducted into the United States Army, especially as some have pointed out, many have pointed out, when not taking the step, I will lose so much. And I would like to say to those of the press and those of the people who think that I lost so much by not taking the step, I would like to say that I did not lose a thing up until this very moment. I haven't lost one thing. I have gained a lot. Number one, I have gained a peace of mind. I have gained a peace of heart. I now know that I'm in content with Almighty God Himself, whose proper name is Allah. I have also gained the respect of everyone here today. I have not only gained the respect of everyone here today, but worldwide I have gained the respect. People all over the world. And by taking the step, may have satisfied a few people who are pushing the war. Even if the wealth of America was given to me for taking the step, the wealth of America and the friendship of all of the people who support the war, this will still be nothing if I am not content internally and if I'm not in accord with the will of Almighty Allah. As you read the newspapers and the press now, you see that I am now in court. I am in court seeking justice under the laws of the land. In this country, the United States of America, ministers are exempt from the armed services. And if they choose, I am a Muslim minister and a teacher of the religion of Islam. It has been said that I have two alternatives: either go to jail or go to the army. But I would like to say that there is another alternative, and that alternative is justice. And if justice prevails, I will neither go to the army nor will I go to jail. They say that actually every time that I enter the ring, in a way, I'm going to war. They say to me daily, "You are a prize fighter. What's the difference?" And I like to say to those critics of the press and to the others that there is one hell of a lot of difference in fighting in the ring and going to war in Vietnam. Boxing is nothing like going to war with machine guns, bazookas, hand grenades, bomber airplanes. My intention is to box to win a clean fight. But in war, the intention is to kill, and continue killing innocent people. That's what the business is war. I would like to hear this from you. And I want the world and the cameras to hear. Who's the heavyweight champion of the world? And I'm very pleased and thankful for being here. And that's all I would like to say. Thank you very much.
The legendary Muhammad Ali, long recognized for his philanthropic efforts and his work as a social activist, which includes a landmark journey to Iraq in 1990 to negotiate the release of 15 hostages. While his refusal to be inducted into the U.S. Army to fight in the Vietnam War led him to being banned from the sport, and a sport he loved, and at the height of his career too, his inspiring courage and anti-war stance helped spearhead the growing anti-war movement of the 1960s. Once again, later on this morning, we're going to be speaking with Professor James Smalls about Muhammad Ali, a legend.
The essence of power is the ability to define someone's reality and have them live according to that definition as though it is a definition of their own choosing.
Another one from Carlos JJ.
It is my plea to all African leaders, civil servants, communities, let's unite against wars, diseases, corruption, and xenophobia. Let's strive for good governance and promote social cohesion.
We're standing by to speak with Ika Tafari and the members of the Coral Gardens Benevolent Society actually met with the Justice Minister a week ago, Friday. And we're going to be talking to him right now about that. My brother Ika Tafari, greetings.
Greetings, Kabu, and one love to the African family.
All right, good to have you. I know that the Coral Gardens Benevolent Society met with the Minister of Justice, and this is just a quick update as to that, because we know we're coming now on the heels of the the Public Defender's report, which has been out for some time, and watching to see where that is going to be ending up, and what's the new administration going to be doing about addressing some of the points there. All right,
Yes.
so let us talk about that. What was the meeting for?
Well, the meeting was for discussing our point of view. We had submitted to them a 13-point document of what we would like to see in terms of compensation that was put together from a special community meeting that we held at the university campus in December last year, I think it was. Yes. You know, so they called us after, as you know, we were on your program earlier on when Derek Smith and Mike Henry was on also, during the commemoration time. And
Delroy Chuck.
Yeah. Was there, yes. So, as you know, we decided that we're not giving up the agitation just because the report is out. We have to keep pushing the government. So, we were pushing and sending email to the Minister of Justice and to Mike Henry, keeping in communication. And finally, they said they would meet with us on Friday gone. So, we were there. I think Horace Chang was there also. He was the person that contacted us from out of the office. Mike Henry was there. Babsy Grange was there. Derek Smith chaired the meeting, I think, yes. And there was some other permanent secretaries and things like that there. So we went there to discuss our 13 points in relation to the public defender's report and the inadequacies that we thought were in the report in terms of recommendation, and to validate the pointed historical references that were made in there. That was a good enough document, to circulate to the community, to those who are not aware of what went down still, So that was mainly that, we got into some other talks in that they were still trying to define who is Rastafari, in terms of trying to see how they can secure themselves from infiltration of other people in terms of people mimicking Rastafari and them granting like special rights to the Rastafari community, especially in terms of ganja and all those that they are setting up still,
Okay, so that's interesting. Well, that was a discussion. So I suppose you couldn't determine there, and they couldn't determine there how that would be. How that would be done? Yeah, how do you?
They couldn't determine that, but they were willing to. They were willing to listen to our points. Still, it's a special committee that the Prime Minister had set up still, and they are going to take it back to some cabinet level and all of that, and reason and the issue. To me, I think I can't say how sincere they are really, but I know there's some amount as you know, politician already. I don't know how sincere they are, but I know there's some amount of itching and some amount of wanting to do something.
Okay.
Whether for political mileage or whatever the case, or the pressure that is coming down on them, because even the reparation committee in their presentation across the world or within the Caribbean in seeking reparation, the Coral Garden is first on their list.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is really in the public sphere. So what was any determinations made in terms of the 13-point plan and the Coral and the public defender's report in terms of how this new administration will be moving forward? Is this not going to be tabled in Parliament, for example?
I figure it's going to be tabled sometime there according to the pressure that is put on them. Because, like I say, I get some amount of them wanting to deal with the situation. Their interest was mostly around the survivors.
Okay.
And their interest seems to be to a lesser extent in providing community compensation and even compensation for the victims that passed. We are not seeing much push towards wanting to facilitate certain things. Anyway, they said they go and discuss our points, which our points basically is asking for something for the community along with the victims same way, or the survivors.
Yeah, because it would seem to me that to narrow it down to the survivors is to do a disjustice, an injustice to a disservice and an injustice to the Rastafari community on a whole. Coral Gardens and others, Pinnacle and Bacawal and so on, Coral Gardens, and these are the brutality of a state against Rastafari, regardless of the different periods, whether it's a Coral Gardens time or Pinnacle or Bacawal or so on, the brutality of the state against Rastafari is what has resulted in a kind of a down pressing of Rastafari, even though Rasta has risen, and we know so Rasta rise. I mean, that goes without saying. But it is in spite of the oppression, the foot on the necks of Rastafari, literally, that has prevented, and up to this day we have situations of discrimination in schools.
It has destabilized the community. I
think it's disingenuous of the government, and if they are doing that, you really need to be looking at this seriously, Ika. If they want to narrow this down now to only the survivors, that would be a shame.
Yes, and if they do that, then the agitation will still continue.
That would be a shame, but I don't think they should be allowed to do that. I think that would be a shame, and you might need to seek legal advice in that regard. But that would be a shame.
Well, that is what we are saying, because in our presentation to them, we are telling them, letting them realize that even though we come here, we don't come to them as a last resort, because are begging, because there are other alternatives that we can take, So they need to do their part so that we don't have to go get into that still, And that is why we had carried Bert Samuel with us as a representative in terms of legal representation still, and him being on the reparation committee.
It seems to me as if if the minute you hear that kind of argument coming from the government that there is a problem, and that should be shut down immediately, and how dare you, whoever is doing that, to even make that suggestion? How dare you?
Yes, because like I said, not even the victim's family, in terms of compensation, those that went through it, that we can identify.
But it was the community that was attacked. And while you want to deal with it, and of course you have to deal with the survivors, but then you also have to deal with the wider matter of the Rastafari community.
Yes.
So when are you scheduled to meet again?
They said they would call us, We don't have a scheduled meeting, and that is it. So we still have to keep on pushing.
Oh, don't call me, we call you.
Something like that.
Well, I think we should get a bullhorn and call them, or on a bang. And call them because it look like that is where it's going. But I don't like the sound of it, Ika.
Yes, well, we are very careful in watching what's happening, CMA. But that is the kind of direction that we see it's pointing, because I think they are figuring out that if they give community compensation based upon the Caribbean, the Pinnacle issue of community compensation, the Bacawal community of compensation, they are trying to run away from that.
Well, you see, but you can't run away from.
They can't run away. That is why I'm saying.
Yes.
Give justice to Caribbean situation, and then when the Pinnacle and the Bacawal situation come up, they redress it also too.
Yes.
Because it's been years and years of oppression,
Of course.
And look how long, 50 odd years before we are now even able to talk to them face to face, one to one, about what we want in terms of compensation, or they're giving us compensation. It didn't take Tivoli Garden that long, or even 10 years before it came up in the face of the public for compensation, and all of that as a wrong that has been done.
And I really hope that there is there's resilience.
Strategically, the benevolent society, I was thinking about that same, So even though we got there with the 13-point plan, we also went there with a proposal for organic healthcare village. We have put together a concept of an organic healthcare village as a project.
Yes.
Written in conjunction with the University of the West Indies Western Campus,
Yes.
So we are saying that as a monument, same way to the struggle and the efforts of the community in over all these years in trying to even get compensation. Help us to fund or find grant funding to set up this elder care village for the elders and within our community, and we set it up in a way that it can be self-sustaining also, This we would like to use as a monument, same way, So we also went there with a proposal to set up a project, same way.
Well, please keep us updated and let us use the social media and the other media spaces, even while the negotiation is going on. I don't like the clandestine business and then, talking about, it's going to be, let us look at just the survivors. It's kind of underhanded to me. So hopefully we can keep it in the discussion in the public sphere. Thank you.
We definitely will. And like you say, we are vigilant about getting widespread compensation. We are not just sitting down with just that alone,
Yes,
still, you know.
yes. All right, thank you so much, Anchor. Please keep in touch.
We give thanks.
Yeah, man.
Aluta continue. And more strength and
Avitora is certa, which means victory is certain.
Yes,
give thanks,
man.
yeah, man. All right.
Give thanks.
Okay.
Highly high.
She wasn't ready for the revolution, but stepped into view to protect her man. Forgotten woman, mattress in hand. Mattress in hand. Remove the springs from the old palliaus, a fracture in the mind, splintering malleus. If she had a hammer, she'd rally us like Buster rallied from Arnage to Bogue, remember? What Barnett Street couldn't hold, Bogue would. Wartime woman wrapped in drogue find ways out of unruly graveyards. Carry him there though pain and scarred, or wrap this silent cot around imperial beard. Secretly soldering ancestral mausoleums, jeered, pregnant sorrowing midst home front cares. She held his pride softly, wove salt a monumentum of an old crucifixion. Barnett Street is a walled necropolis in Easter. There grave diggers in uniforms disremember coral gardens, a potter's field forsaken. She held his pride delicately, her king man. To prostrate is to humiliate in affliction. The mattress must always upright stand. Tears like sepulchres do not crystallize. They lug Kaya to cover maternal fears. Facine is still in fetal pain, now ethericized. Incubated spaces, sanctum sanctorum, priests of a tabernacle, Rasta tectum. Buster had no business in her bedroom. In the Holy of Holies empty sepulchre, she carries mattresses in vitro, wrote his names on steely incubator, seared in time. Buster was the inquisitor. Doorkeeper, there will be a reckoning. Sisters in Durbars, their kingman palanquin. Buster had no business in her bedchamber. His mattress is sarcophagus, remember? Her speech ancestral obelisks recreating, told her story in cartouches for centuries. Her own people of Punic faith, false memories. The bed in votive offering keeps him alive. She held his pride gently. He must survive. Enid to Geraint, her long suffering. Mother God from the holy triad excluded. Nyabingi wartime woman is wounded. Dead or alive in the second scourging. Good Friday's rastas disemboweling. The evening and the morning was the second day. She held his pride tenderly so as not to sway the child she carried through Holy Thursday. She knew placentation tribulation on the Lord's day. Penitent excruciation, warrior-like in solitary inquisition. He will be reborn or yet entombed. Eniad and Eniad, fire soul. Eniad and Eniad, water soul. Eniad ten Eniad, fire soul. Eniad ten Eniad, water soul. Magdalene of the cross, sevenfold. She told her story in royal cartouche, wrote painful memories and all she touched. He was her kingman sans mustache. There was nothing good about that Friday. Give us Barabbas, make him pay. For hailing Rastafari, they must pay. Good Friday? Crucifixion hour. Build rooms of mattresses ex vivo. The executioner is national hero. Viperous Buster must face the reckoning. Ectogenesis in the rebirthing. In the rebirthing. In the rebirthing. She held his pride tenderly in the blackness, wrapped him softly in upright mattress, kept watch like Enid Geraint in practice. The morning and the evening was the third day. Resurrection came slowly, Easter Sunday. Kingman rebirthing from Kaya tombing. Enid must touch him. He's seen the Father. Searches his soul for the man they slaughtered. He's not there for he's risen. A drink of water? This is how she stitched back the mattress. One spring at a time till Buster's dead. Counting needle points silently in her head. If they don't pay, until her fingers bled. He held her body closely. She was his queen. from the bowels of Kaya, justice foreseen. In time, they will march for repatriation, like warriors demand full reparation.
The essence of power is the ability to define someone's reality and have them live according to that definition as though it is a definition of their own choosing.
You're inside of the Africa Forum. It is Running Africa, and we're going to go to the phone lines to speak with Fufie, and we're talking in this segment of the program about the Run China Run Peace and Dignity journey that is scheduled to kick off shortly. As you know, we've been focusing on the Peace and Dignity Run. Spoke with one of the runners, young runner from Jamaica 2 weeks ago. And here we are with Fufie, our sister, Friday. Fufie. Good morning, Fufie.
I like that, Sister Kabu. I like that.
How are you?
I am very well, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm very well. The ancestors have been good.
Yes.
And the Creator seems to be collaborating very well with them.
And I must apologize to you, and once again publicly, and to our sister from the United States,
Bibi Inaru.
Bibi Inaru, who was scheduled to be on the program last week, and then a series of issues that allowed it not to come. But anyway, here we are.
Everything in God's time.
Exactly. Run China Run 2016, peace and... I don't know why I like to say that, so,
I love it, seriously. Andrew, with your permission, Kabu, may I start with a small story?
Go ahead.
It's the creation story of the Taino people. And I'm going to try to read this quickly.
Yes.
In the beginning, Atabe created the heavens, the earth, and other celestial bodies. Atabe had always existed. Atabe is the original mother. Atabe is the powerful creator. But there was no life. There was no light. Everything existed as in a deep sleep. And so it was for a long time. Atabe finally realized that she needed something else. She had two sons, whom she crafted out of magical, invisible elements. The two sons were named Yukahu and Gwakar. Yukahu was preoccupied with the absence of light and life. Atabe was content because Yukahu could now finish what she had started. So Yukahu created the sun and the moon to illuminate the earth. He took precious stones from the earth and placed them in the sky. These stones helped the moon illuminate the night. The earth was fertile, and from it grew plants and trees. Yukahu then created animals and birds to live among the plants and trees. Then Yukahu decided to create something new, something different, a cross between an animal and a god. In this way, the first man and soul was created. He called the first man Lokuo. Lokuo was happy on earth with all the beauty that surrounded him. He knelt before Yukahu to offer thanks. Gwakar looked with envy at all his brother had created. He stole away to a secluded place and did nothing for a while. But his envy overcame him, and he began to taint the creations of his brother. He changed his name, becoming the terrible god of evil, Huracan. Huracan carried the winds. Sometimes he carried them with such force that they destroyed what Yukahu had created. He uprooted trees and killed animals. Lokuo's happiness turned to fear. He could no longer enjoy the beauty of nature. In addition to sending powerful winds, Huracan made the earth tremble. This was one of his favorite games. During one of the most powerful quakes, the American continent divided in two. This is how the Antilles came to be. But Lokuo continued living on Earth, and Yukahu created other gods to help him. Lokuo learned to create images of these gods, which he called semis. Yukahu presented Lokuo with fire, and he learned to cook his own food. He learned to make cassava from yucca, but Lokuo lived alone on Earth. One day, inspired by so much natural beauty, he pried open his belly button and gave way to two beings in his likeness, a man and a woman. The man was called Gwagoyona and the woman Yaya. The descendants of these two people populated the earth, but the descendants of Gwagoyona and Yaya suffered immensely with the floods and strong winds that Huracan sent. And he sent evil spirits that caused few problems in the lives of the people. The spirits destroyed the canoes in the river, threw stones upon homes, and hit the ball with which the people were playing. They also brought illness and strife to the people. This is how the Taino explain natural phenomena and the origin of good and evil.
Wow. I'm waiting for more. All right, you know,
everyone has a creation story.
I was just that's exactly what I was going to say. That is the exact point I was going to make, because, and I'm listening to this, I'm saying the importance of you reading, the relevance, it's very important that you read this story this morning, because we needed to make this point that every people have their own creation story. But for most people, our creation stories have been slaughtered in infancy, and slaughtered in our dreams too, but at the expense of the creation story of one set of people.
Yes.
What does this do to preserving our identities, whoever we are?
Because we're not preserving our own culture, our own stories.
And here we are with the creation story from the Taino people. And you see,
I love the story.
and me too. And do you notice how all the stories have something in common? Every single one of them, a strain in common. But you know, for me, Fufi, this story I think should be told in the schools when we teach, whether we're doing it in social studies or we're doing it as straight history, that we teach this story also alongside the other creation stories and the creation stories out of Kemet. You know.
Oh yes. We should be teaching all the creation stories of all the ancestors. That is what's going to make us out of one.
You know, but that is...
We should be sharing our creation stories, the Chinese, all the Jamaicans.
But the out of one is a fallacy. Well, out of many, I think it's a fallacy. Out of one makes more sense.
Out of many.
Yeah.
Out of one.
But out of one makes a lot more sense, really.
That's what came out of my mouth just now.
Yeah, but it was the truth. It's the right thing. All right, so let us talk about the One Taino Run and where we are with it now. Remind us of what it is quickly, and then give us an update.
Yes, what it is a spiritual journey. It is fulfilling the old prophecies, and one of the things Kalan was mentioning at a session we were just participating in is that in his work he has found that many of the indigenous communities have this prophecy of unity and peace and dignity for people. Indigenous peoples first, but all the people of the world, because as we said, all people are indigenous to somewhere. So the story is not new, and it's not limited to one group of people. Every single group of people talks about, or has a prophecy that talks about becoming one, becoming whole, after being splintered and scattered, becoming whole, spiritually, physically, in many other ways. Yes. And the Peace and Dignity Journey speaks to this. It speaks to it in very practical ways, because even as the runners are running, they're joining and stopping at various indigenous communities. That's meeting, that's coming together, that's creating wholeness. They're sharing their stories, they're sharing practices, they're talking about common issues of indigenous peoples. And at the the last gathering in Panama, it's a big celebration. They're going to be Andrew, I can't even pronounce the names of some of the indigenous groups that will be there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just Tainos, it's indigenous peoples.
Yes.
We are representing the indigenous peoples of our land, who are the Tainos.
Mm-hmm.
But all the people from Alaska, Argentina, and the various places in between
Australia, I suppose.
Of this land.
Yes. And I saw a story. I saw a story just, I think it was earlier this week, of the Aborigines in Australia, that their DNA testing has shown that their lineage has been unbroken for thousands and thousands of years.
Uh-huh.
And so they remain, of most of the indigenous people, truly so, in terms of the fact that they have not married or and I found that pretty interesting. Segregation has a whole lot to do with that, but isn't that an interesting note for fear when you think about the preservation?
Fascinating. And it speaks to how indigeneity is different in any ways. For example, in Jamaica, we can't all up and say, our strain has been unbroken, and that you'll find somebody with the DNA and it's pure, Taino in their matrilineal line, or no. We have become a mixed people because we have intermingled. But remember now, and I hate to use this example, but the Ku Klux Klan, if you have an ounce, if you have 0.00 something of black, but you're black, no matter how white you look.
Oh, well, that's the thing, and that's why we're looking. No, but it's a point, and we recognize ourselves. We know who we are in spite of the.
In spite of.
Right.
Yes.
The rapes.
And we recognize
because
that we are blessed
rape.
because we've become this powerful mixture. It's like having a synergistic result.
Right.
Because 1 and 1 is not equaling 2 here, so it's equaling 200 and 2,000.
Africans.
Because when we put African and Taino and all the other groups together, that night of mix and mingle, we're getting a powerful potpourri, powerful medicine.
All right. So to return to the run Taino run.
Journey.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is
I'd like to
obviously.
give you a little bit of an update on some of the things we've done recently.
Yes, go ahead.
Because one of the things we're doing is we're taking the prayer staff around to various places so that people can look and put their prayers in it and touch it. Our intervention in Woodside was phenomenal. It was beautiful. About 60 or more people turned out. We started by the Taino cave where Atabey is etched into the cave wall. We started there. We talked about Atabey. We had the pleasure of having Boyanani, Leslie Gale, Atkins Sabi from Jamaican National, from the Jamaica, what is it?
Heritage Trust.
Yes. With us. And she spoke, as usual, so well about her people, the Taino people. And, we did various things. We did first Saturday. We sang. We had a really joyous, powerful time. And the community received us so well. We want to thank them again. Since then, we've done some other things. We had a session of Nanook. I don't know how many people know about Nanook on Burlington Avenue. Powerful space. And they've been having a series of conversations under the theme out of many on people. And so the last one, which was last Tuesday, was devoted to us talking about the Taino people and the peace and dignity journey. And it was really very wonderful. Of course, I talked a little bit about the coat of arms, but that's a little bit of a pet peeve with me, And even the fact that, it's the St. George's Cross from the English flag that's in the center. We got independence and our flag not there. So it's whose coat of arms? Yes. So I have some issues about that, Kabu. So we talked about that, but we also spent some time talking about the Taino people, who they are, what they are. And the Kalan spoke very, very well about the peace and dignity journey from the prophecies of the indigenous peoples and what it means and all of that sort of thing. We also, after that, on Friday, actually visited Cross Keys High School. And Lord, big commendations to a room full of about 300 children who sat fairly well and listened. The principal, the board of the new board chair of the board of directors were there, and this was all arranged by Valerie Dixon, a staunch Garveyite, who is also a staunch Tainoite,
of course,
who believes in bringing attention to that area, resource Cano Valley, which was home. That's Taino land. Even the name Cano Valley talks about the big trees that they used to cut down to make canoes. Is a tribute to that. So it's Taino land. Valerie tells me that there's strains of cassava there that the Taino planted. I don't know if this has been in research, but that's relevant because this peace and dignity journey pays tribute to the seed. Now, none of us is lost to the fact that the seeds are under threat. I mean, there are companies making seeds that don't give you nothing to plant back. That's unnatural. That's not how Atabey or any of the various creator beings that we know made it. You should be able to plant back most of your seeds and keep going with the proper practices. So we know that there's been a serious threat, almost a destruction of what is natural in terms of how seeds operate and the role they play. Seeds are not sacred anymore.
At the end of the day, a threat to our very survival is what we're facing now when you go right back to the seed. And you see, and it takes us right back there, to the seed, because it's the beginning in any case of life.
It's the beginning.
And
it is the beginning.
When you
and without it, we won't have the same quality of life as we did before. So that's the special focus of this. In the past, there have been other focuses like water. I liked that one. But this particular peace and dignity journey focuses on the seed. So there will be much conversation about that, about the seed as the kind of relationship that indigenous peoples have with that, as opposed to non-indigenous views on the seed, which allows you to just do all kinds of things, modifications and changes, and as you say, put our survival at risk. So we've been very blessed to be able, we took the staff to Cross Keys and it was passed around the room and all the children were able to touch it and feel it and talk about it.
And I'm quite sure that I'm sure that persons who are listening are saying, but how come we don't know about some of these things? Where else are you going to be? Where can people get involved?
All right, that's a good question, because our final staff ceremony is going to be on June 23rd. That is the Kwahu Day celebration at the annual Maroon Conference in Charlestown, Buff Bay, June 23rd. That's going to be our final staff ceremony. So if you want a chance to touch it, to put your prayers in there, to reinforce the blessings that we're bringing in there. So when you raise it up in New York and start running those 5,382 miles, your prayers are there. Your handprint is there. Come June 23rd, Charlestown.
And we need to talk about and it's good. And if you spend some more time talking about June 23 and what's going to be happening there, generally speaking, in Portland on the 23rd, because there is a big activity. There's a big event there on the 23rd.
There's a very big event. I don't know where to start. Traditionally, the Charlestown people have honored June 23rd as what they call Kwahu Day. Kwahu is from the Akan people and is an ancestor who fought. He's one of the forefathers who fought through all the various wars in that area. And as far as I'm concerned, this is my story and I'm sticking to it. He brought him and those who fought alongside him, brought the British to their knees and helped in the whole process of the British realizing that they weren't going to win this war, so they needed a peace treaty. That peace treaty was signed, of course, there is much controversy about it. However, I am not so honoring the peace treaty, Kabu. I am honoring this ancestor who could bring the might of the British to the point where they were asking, because you don't win a war as a peace treaty, do you?
And there's so much...
If you're the victor, are you asking for a peace treaty?
And there's so much also about Kwahu that is still unknown, even though we have had the Kwahu Day being celebrated here in Jamaica for some time.
Traditionally, yes. It was. Right. And then it evolved into a conference.
Yes.
So this year is especially important. That is one of the reasons why I'm involved in helping to plan this. This year, Kwahu, in Akan culture, Kwahu is a child born on a Thursday. This year, June 23rd falls on a Thursday. Not only that, June 23rd this year is also the opening day of the conference. It's the first day of the conference. So it is so appropriate that we recognize and start with this ancestral celebration, because the ancestors are the foundation for everything. Kwahu is the foundation for this, what is now called the conference.
And so
it's a foundation, because that's how it started out.
And so here we have two things coming. Here we have two things coming together, which is the celebration of Kwahu Day, and also the celebration of Taino.
Yes. In tribute, because we know Taino had Kwahu had allies. Kwahu had those who helped him, fought with him, worked with him with the medicines he needed. He was invisible just by accident, The Taino people were his closest allies, him and his fighters. They were working with him with medicines. Why do you think he could run like that? And so we think it is a beautiful fit. Kwahu was a runner. And these people who are going up there to run for pretty much the same reasons Kwahu was running.
We're going to spend some time leading up to this, and we're in June already. I think we should put aside a Sunday to talk somewhat about Kwahu, and about that event up there. I'm going to be looking at that.
Because I don't even have time to tell you about all the wonderful presentations. Because I don't have a time, because
that's true.
To talk about,
but
I'm happy to do that.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to give you a few minutes now to just get in what I'm not asking and what need to be said, because we're running out of time in this segment of the program. So go ahead. Yeah.
Right. So basically, we've been taking the staff around. We have another location to go to. We're not quite sure. We are going to be consulting with Boyanani, because I'm drawn to Seville, but because so many China activities were around that area, but we have to find out. So we'll have one more place, and then the Kwahu celebration. Oh my gosh, I'm being drawn to talk about Kwahu. But we've been doing. We've been reaching out to persons for funding. We have a group in Georgia and a group in Florida who are trying to help us to find, the things the runners need, the running shoes and the this and the that and some food items. We're still a challenge to find the airfares to go to New York and return from Panama. We've contacted some airlines to see if they would be able to assist us. But basically, we're moving along. We're facing the challenges. Very brilliant. I mean, we're not even considering that this can't happen for financial or any other reason.
Yes.
We're just pushing ahead. So if anybody wants to help us, can I give my number?
Go ahead.
531-2414. We also have the Sankofi Facebook page. Visit that to keep up with what we're doing, the various things we're doing.
Repeat the number for us, Fufi.
531-2414.
All right.
So if you have any frequent flyer miles that you want to donate, you want to give to one of the runners, If you have a $10 you want to give, please feel free, call us. Now we make arrangements. The persons in Georgia and Florida who are helping us are Jamaican people who have seen the things we've been sending out and say, whoa, we want to help. We want to help. I've seen this. We want to help.
All right. So the Facebook page again?
Yes, Sankofi. Facebook page.
All right. Yeah. And also there's a telephone number. And the next big event is June 23 at... that's going to be Billy Inaru is going to be there for that, the organizer of this leg of the Taino Peace and Dignity Journey, the Peace and Dignity Journey. She's going to be there for that ceremony. We'll have to come back to talk about that day, our day. Yeah. Oh, definitely. And I think we might be doing that tomorrow, next Sunday. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Fufi. Thank you so much. Yeah. See you next Sunday.
Okay.
Let's pick up on this, man. All right.
Thank you so much. At home.
Sister Fufi, Medasi, or Akwapa, our Sister Fufi there, who is talking to us about the Peace and Dignity Journeys, which were initiated in 1992 in response to a prophecy regarding the eagle and the condor, and the initiative of elders who saw spiritual running as a vehicle to reunite the nations of the Americas.
What you do for yourself depends on what you think of yourself. And what you think of yourself depends on what you know of yourself. And what you know of yourself depends on what you have been told.
We want to go into the next segment of our program, and we have a full house actually, which we're just trying to reconfigure and to move studios. We are very happy to have our very special guests in the studio with us this morning. A really, really good response to our call to the various groups, cannabis growers, producers and so on across Jamaica. So really, really good turnout, good response. Thank you so much for that. We're going to be moving studios shortly so that we can accommodate and facilitate everyone who has turned out to be, to lend their voices to what's happening here regarding cannabis licensing. You know, I have been looking at the application checklist and procedures, and I don't know, call me an alarmist. I don't think I am, but I've been saying this from day one. I kind of saw this coming. It is prohibitive. It's a deterrent, and I think that we need to call it as it is. It seems to me as if there is, and this is my personal reading of it, I have no other interest. I'm reading it as a Jamaican. I'm reading it as an African Jamaican. And immediately I'm looking at this and I thought, wow, if this is an industry that you're already in and it was considered illegal and you want to regularize this, then it is a deterrent. It is prohibitive. If this is an industry that you want to get into now, then it is also prohibitive. So it seems to me as if there is a plan to weed out the so-called small man and to make this an industry controlled by big corporations, conglomerates, and so on. That's how it looks like to me. All right, so we have a special group in the studio with us this morning. From the chairman of the Westmoreland Hemp and Ganja Farmers, IOV. Also, he's chairman of the National Coalition of Ganja Farmers and Producers. Good morning, IOV. How you doing? Oh, sorry, let me just get your microphone. Yeah, Ras Ivy, good morning.
Yes, greetings and give thanks,
All right. Who do you have beside you, Ivy?
Well, we have, let she introduce herself.
Good morning, yes.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Celia Francis. I'm secretary for North St. Catherine Herbal Agro-Processors Cooperative.
Okay.
And also a member of the National Coalition of Ganja Farmers and Producers.
All right. Thanks so much for coming in. All right. We have Sister Marcia. All right. go ahead and introduce yourselves to here. Yeah.
I'm Marcia Davis of the St. Anne Botanical and Agro-Processing Cooperative and a member of the National Coalition of Ganja Farmers.
All right. Who do we have on this side? Yes.
Greetings. Jackie Horton, President of the St. Mary Ganja Growers and Producers Association.
Jackie Horton, I'm very happy to meet you live on the air. It's been a while. Yes.
Hi, my name is Kathy Lennon from the St. Elizabeth Group and also co-chair of the National Coalition of Ganja Farmers and Producers.
All right, thank you so much, Kathy. I know Ras Amin is with us. Amin, go ahead, but your microphone not working. Well, let me see what's happening here. All right, no, your microphone is off. All right, but that's Ras Amin from St. Anne. We're gonna be moving to another studio shortly. All right, I know we also have from Trelawney, Mark Green and Green Dreams Agro, member of the National Coalition of Ganja Farmers. Donovan White, also from Trelawney, and from St. Mary. Do we have Maple Gray from St. Mary? National Coalition of Ganja Farmers. So they'll be joining us shortly. I'm going to start with you first of all, Ivy. We've had many conversations, many discussions on where we are now, leading up to time for licensing. Am I wrong in saying that there might be an issue with the ability of many ganja farmers to actually pass the first stage, much less over stages, of a licensing process?
If you are wrong, the answer is no. Can it be counteracted? Can it be dealt with? The answer is yes.
It can be dealt with?
Right.
All right, so let us talk about the challenges, first of all, that you face with the application checklist and procedures, if anything, the pre-licensing criteria and others. Any challenge? And I just want to go through the group, first of all. I start with you, Ivy.
Right. What it boils down to is financial. The challenge is financial.
Yes.
So as such, as a group, whether from a parish level or from a national level, we have to organize ourselves seriously to see in what way we can acquire funds, and also to pressure the government to make sure that the government fund the industry from a people's point of view so that the industry is not controlled by rich people or by foreign investors.
All right. I'm going to go to you, Jackie Horton, from St. Mary. Give us a synopsis of what the requirements are for licensing, as far as you understand it.
Before I do that, Madam Chair, I would just like to say that in agreement with you on your opening remarks, we find as not only St. Mary, but I'm also a member of the steering committee of the Ganja Growers and Producer Association. And we find the regulations to be kind, over-regulated, and to be frank, oppressive. The regulations as we see it points to a number of areas where, you see, to understand where we are, we have to also look at where we are coming from. This struggle didn't start with the CLA board. This struggle started, well, it has always been with us, a struggle for ganja. But formally, 2013, towards the end, when Westmoreland Association was formed around that time, and the Ganja Growers and Producer Association, at that time was a Future Growers, came into being. And we have struggled for a number of things, which we see now in this regulation to be either on hold or deleted. This is disappointing, to say the least. However, we have met with the board, and we find the board to be warm, touchable, reachable. We like the feel of the board, but what we don't like so much is the content of the regulations.
And this is what I want to get to, so that our listeners can also understand what it is that we are responding to, the content of the regulations. And it's there for all to see. You can go to the website and so on. But I want, for purposes of this broadcast, to kind of go through some of what is required of the person who is going to be seeking the license. And when you say content of the regulations, do you want to point to some of those that are problematic?
Okay, thank you. Because it's really a lengthy document.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
For our part, the first thing I'd point out is the tier system. We find that tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 farmers, as it is mentioned in the regulations, to be governed by one set of regulation is going to be problematic. We're asking, and there are people here who are more experienced in farming than myself. I have Kathy, these people have first-hand knowledge of farming. But just to look at it, a tier 1 farmer who had to be escaping from the law and farming miles from the main up in the bushes has to now go and pull up stakes, because the regulations demand that there must be road access to these plantations. That may be a simple matter, looking at a bit of paper, but in reality, it is cumbersome and troublesome. Whereas tier 2 and tier 3 farmers may be able to handle this, and this is where we have the problem, because the tier 1 farmer is at the lower end of the scale, is the farmer who is going to have the smaller farms, is who we predict to be the poorer of the set of farmers. And in addition to that, we as an association struggle for concessions and things which we see are on hold. For example, the waiver of the fee for the tier 1 farmer. We hear from the board that they're not sure if this new Minister of Finance is going to honor the agreement made with the former Minister of Finance, and this sort of bungling. We also, whereas I do not want to deal with all the matters, and we are giving other people a chance, I'd like also to mention that concessions given to businesses from other industries.
Right, we have a phone ringing, so we're gonna.
Some of them to countries who are oppressing our nationals. You know, we don't see any mention of that in this industry, and there are a number of others, but I'm sure my colleagues will pick up on some of them.
All right, let me go to you, Kathy. What would be the problematic points there for you?
Greetings. The points there for me that is problematic in the regulation is, the first we have to look at what are the international stipulations and get those out of the way. When we look at that, we look at what is possible with what they give us and how can we find solutions who are grassroots people who really know the industry a little bit more than the regular Jamaican. So this is where we need that explanation. With the tier 1 for the cultivation license, let's go by step. With the cultivation license, in the regulations, as you see, sister, in the regulation it says you can have an acre or less. If you look in your application form, you see where they do not specify less in terms of costing. In terms of costing, you don't see in the application form, you don't see they have it for less, but you see they have it in the regulation, an acre or less. That's the tier 1. At the meeting with the CLA on some Fridays ago, I had suggested that they come down to a half acre, even a quart acre. Why should we do this, we asked. It helps to better control of product. One of the small farmers, an average small farmers, can't afford a $2,000 for an acre.
And that is why. So let us look at the range, the price, the ranges, because you have what, 2,000. Please don't hit the microphone. What we have to give us the price range.
All right, as you see, the price range is IFE. The price range.
All right, Ivy, you have the.
I mean, being on the CLA board, I know it and.
Yeah, well, go ahead, Ivy. Right? Give us an
in
idea.
the sense that with the tier 1, the fee, the licensing fee, is $2,000 per acre, right? But there are other fees. For example, $300 that is application fee. Now that $300 is non-refundable, but from the CLA point of view, the applicant will not pay that $300 until that person or companies ensure that they are going to get that license. It's not something like you're going to pay it up front and then you don't get it and you don't get back your money. They're not going to take it from you until they make sure that you are going to get your license.
Okay, so it's not like the visa where you pay and you still don't get it back. All right, so that's 300 and then 300 for the application.
Right, and like I said, 2,000 for the acre. Right.
But it goes up from there.
Yes, to tier 2, which is between an acre and 5 acres. It's $2,500 US per acre. For tier 3, which is 5 acres and more, it is $3,000 US, right? Along with the application fee also, and that is for the cultivation license.
Yeah.
Right. There are other licenses, for example, transportation license, where you pay $10,000 US for the first vehicle, and then $1,000 US per vehicle after that.
So when you finish, how much you're paying? At the end of the day, what are the possibilities? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Kathy. Yeah.
All right. So the fees do not reflect our economics here in Jamaica. That's one. So we cut it down to half acre for argument's sake. So a half acre would probably run about $1,000 US. But what do you get from that? You get more farmers are able to take part. You get better control of the product on the farm, because the average Jamaican farmer really can't farm an acre by himself, it takes probably about 5 farmers, a team of 5 to really look about a half acre for quality. And because we are using the Canadian standards, it's a little bit stiffer than the Colorado standards in terms of the standards of the product that is coming to market, the medical marijuana, medical ganja.
Yeah.
So when you have farmers participating at a smaller level, you get a better quality, and they are able to improve their techniques while we settle this industry, because this industry will not settle until the next year or so, as most new emerging industry. So you give the smaller, at the smallest point where the farmer is able to take part, you get a better quality, so you have a better brand Jamaica. The other thing that I see in the regulation, which is
that a proposal, or is that?
It's a proposal.
It's a proposal,
right?
From
the National Coalition.
Okay,
right. The other drawback I see is where the security is. As I said earlier, the security carries the international stipulations, right? So, for example, it has to be monitored, right? But to have farmers monitor from seed to sale, you have to have the CLA or the governing authority has to have force, have to have a staff to able to monitor as such. So the security stipulations will hinder the average farmer to take place as well.
What's a requirement for security?
It is required that you have fencing. It is required that you have cameras that can fit into a GPS system for tracking. It is required that you have it is required that you have a biotrack system. It's like a little chip. You tie it onto the herb plant, so you keep a track. It's like when you do your fleet of vehicles for any industry. You have a track of where it is. The security features, you have to have some kind of security posts. So when people come, the bookkeeping system of it also. When people come to your farm, or the authorities, because the authorities will be doing inspections. When they come to your farm, they sign in. So you're talking about a camera system. You're talking about an acre fence. That's a lot of money. However, it is not clear that it is very clear that you don't have to use a chain link fence of whatever. But what is clear, if you go over 2 acres, over an acre, you have to have an 8 feet fence. Under an acre, 6 feet. However, the farmer can use, instead of using the chain link, which is very expensive, he can use other methods that is equivalent. I think the CLA would, in inspecting your site, would. On the part of access to the farm, that is because we're dealing with the dangerous drug which is not. There are certain international stipulations that you have to go through, access to the farm and access back for security reasons. So the farmers who live in the mountains will have his land there, but he has to walk on a path to his land, will obviously have a problem. So we have to address that as the coalition or the parish heads in getting some kind of assistance or discount to cutting roads into these places, if possible. If not, we have to turn these farmers into some kind of small boutique farmers with biotrack system, but this driving onto the farm for supply and delivery, it is going to be a challenge.
Problematic. Celia, let me get your point of view on all of this.
Okay, my perspective is historical, and it ties up with inclusion of the small farmers. In 1991-92, the National Council on Drug Abuse, in conjunction with USAID and the European Union, they had a program for for ganja farmers to change from planting something illegal to a legal crop, right? And they gave grant for that, right? It was not implemented because the money disappeared, so to speak. But I'd also like to add that there were 4 communities that were targeted to start that process. The first one was Yorton, where I'm from. The second was Claremont, and they established Kodaks, right? Those farmers from then have been disappointed in not being able to have legalized their crop production from that time.
Mm-hmm.
No, this time around, there's a second opportunity for them to go into, legalize their activity. And if they're not included, or if they don't have access to be incorporated in the whole industry, I think, there will be a problem, because they have expectations, and I know that they want to meet these expectations.
Yes, and I think those expectations weren't managed either from the very beginning, and this is why I'm saying that there's a deception that is involved in this whole process. All right, we're back with you inside of the Africa Forum. And as I said before, a really good response to our call to the different groups, ganja growing groups, producing groups here in Jamaica. And so we had to be using two different studios now for the interview. Let me just link with Studio B. Good morning. Good morning. Who do we have there? Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. So just introduce yourself. Let me know who we have there, please. Yeah. Go ahead.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Listeners and friends. My name is Maple Gray. I'm from the parish of St. Mary, representing the National Coalition.
Okay. So you're far away from Jackie Horton, but you're both from St. Mary. All right.
Yeah, I'm on defense.
Okay. All right. Where in St. Mary you're from?
Highgate.
Highgate. And Jackie, you're where?
Total St. Mary, man.
Total St. Mary.
The family is from Islington.
Yes. All right. Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Delroy Barrett of the Central Cannabis Growers in Manchester.
Okay.
Thanks.
Welcome.
Good morning. I'm Mark Green, Green James and GT Agro, Trelawney.
Thanks for coming in.
Morning, Donovan White, GT Agro, Trelawney.
All right. Brilliant. Thank you so much. And we didn't hear you, Marcia and Amin. So go ahead, Sister Marcia.
I'm Marcia. Good morning. I'm Marcia Davis of the St. Anne Botanical and Agro-Processing Cooperative and a member of the National Coalition of Ganja Farmers.
And Ras Amin beside you?
Yeah, Honorable Ras Amin Ra Abbas Selassie, President of the St. Anne Botanical and Agro-Processing Cooperative Society.
All right. So let me just hear from you, before going further, and to let our listeners know, we do break at 8:30 for the Supreme Ventures draw. We're going to return to the discussion with the farmers in the House, and then we come back again at 9 o'clock to continue that conversation. Hopefully we'll be able to open the phone lines. If not, we'll do it another time, but we'll be here until 10 o'clock at least on this topic. Go ahead, Rasamin.
Yeah, greetings, Radiolan. My concern, after all that is said and done by my colleagues and things, all right, this is one of my concern, and it concerns the whole grassroots farmers. The regulations that is put out there for this new industry. To defend the industry is we don't have any problem with that. The criteria now, the cost of these regulation is a problem, because we were told sometime in last year about gathering the grassroots farmers, because you know the grassroots farmers, we including myself, we want this industry to observe them, because without them, if you're going to set a regulation that is too expensive and purge them out of the whole system, it's going to cause a chaos.
So you see a problem, Rasamin, in even meeting the cost for the licenses, you're saying?
Right.
All right, Sister Marcia, you want to take it from there? I mean, what are some of the main issues?
First of all, I think if the CLA...
All right, we're not hearing you too well, Marcia, if you could come closer to the microphone.
If the CLA had the input of the farmers, I think some parts of these regulations would be different.
But you have farmers on the CLA, don't you? I mean, you're part of the CLA.
Yeah.
So do you agree with that point?
To a point, not if there was representatives, because I am there. If it was a matter that the board and a whole had taken everything into account that was suggested to them, maybe the regulation would have been different. But it is not too late for it to become what it's supposed to be in the interest and benefit of the people. So it needs people input. Right.
We're going to come back to whether it's later or not. Yes, Sister Marcia, go ahead. Yeah. So you're saying obviously from reading through this, you're saying what is missing is that it seems as if the farmers weren't allowed to participate.
Yes.
In making these regulations.
Yes.
What are some of the main issues that you have with it?
The main issues that I have is, like, for instance, there's a farmer, as Kathy was saying, in the hills. This does not say that they would accommodate them if they do not have roads access. This does not make any preparation whatever to accommodate them.
So what you're getting is that you'd have to abandon your farms.
Exactly. And again, I think that what they should have done is to have a committee who could help to guide the farmers, because they're talking about bookkeeping. Bookkeeping just doesn't come like that. You have to get training. I don't see any input for training for the farmers, because you have standards, and I do not see any input for training for the farmers, because they need accountability. And accountability, where this is concerned, comes with a lot of training.
All right. And you talk about standards. So which standard are we using? The Canadian standard? Yeah.
Well, we are using the Canadian, Kathleen on here, we are using the Canadian standards because we want to have a sustainable market, and we are dealing with medical and therapeutic. The Canadian standards are one of the best in the world. Where the marketing standards is concerned, Colorado is one of the best. So I see the regulations look similar to Colorado. However, the standards that Bureau of Standards will be using will be a very strict standards in terms of how you produce the material for the medical field, for ingesting and so. So I like that standard. What we are seeing is that the education of these farmers and us in the industry, I don't see where there is much input, because as National Coalition, what we have been doing on a whole is training our farmers how to take part in terms of growing, but not only growing, in terms of how to manage business. That is the reason why, as you might know, the government they are more favorable to co-ops, because co-ops is the one that can actually mop up the smallest farmer for him to take part and learn. So with the National Coalition, we have had training sessions in Westmoreland, in Hanover, as a very small one in St. Elizabeth. We have been doing this because the National Coalition is really centered around education and advocacy.
All right. Let me go to the group in Studio B. Start with Trelawney. Mr. Green, you're from Trelawney, right?
Yes, I am.
Yes, all right. Your perspective on all of this, what are the challenges, and are you agreeing with what you've heard so far?
Yes, so far I'm agreeing with it. My problem, again, is about finance and being able to accommodate our grassroots farmers. Because after going through this for years on the illegal side and now trying to get legal, remember, we're trying to cut out the illegal market. And the only way we can cut out that is by making this accessible for the lesser farmers. And I think Kathy's idea of having a quarter acre or a half acre license will accommodate more farmers, and it would give us a better chance to make sure that the industry is looking out for our grassroots Jamaican farmers.
Mm-hmm. That is not included in the regulations now, right? That quarter.
No, but in the regulations it said an acre or less, but it's not defined that a half acre will cost you $1,000, but it is defined that an acre will cost you $2,000. We need more definition. But the CLA is very open, and now they're asking for a consultation from the entire island. They'll be having 3 major meetings across the island. So that's good. What we want our people
is it kind of backwards? Like, why you put this out and then you consult? You should consult before.
No, the reason why that you might be you are right, but listen, when they put this out, they are asking for our input. So there are minor things within it that can change. The core is have to reflect our international obligations. So everything not going to change because we have international obligations. But the smaller issues can be changed during these consultancies. What we as a people need to do, Andrea, and I make it clear, what we as a people need to do is to educate ourselves very fast for the conversation.
Yes, Jackie, go ahead.
Yes, just to back up on 2 points that Kathy made, 2 very valuable points. Training within the systems. For example, we as in the GGPA, we have streamlined our information process to our members throughout the system for the last year or 2. So the oncoming on stream of new milestones, we hold seminars and programs to get to that. For example, seminars on how to form a business, how to do this, how to do that, to meet the appropriate sections of our advancement. So this is key. This is really very key, because if we have a populace that do not know how to operate within this space, then it adds to our problem.
Is there a danger, Jackie, and I could be wrong, it's a purely question because I don't have the answer to it. Is there a danger of while we get ready for training and so on, because it seems that with all the discussions that we've had over the months and the years regarding the process of of regulating and opening up the industry, that others will come in, other big corporations will come into that vacuum because now it is open. While we get ourselves ready, by the time we turn around, that space is already filled by those who would have come in from Canada and from the US and so on.
I was only making reference to the point that Kathy made about training locally.
Yes.
We are not getting ready. We have been getting ready.
All right.
These associations have been operating for 2-3 years.
Right. So, but I hear Marcia saying something different, though. Are you saying that there is lack of training?
Of course, there's lack of training.
Come forward.
There's lack of training because before they send the regulations out, nobody had informed us of the way forward. If they were having meetings with us to let us get ourselves ready, re-standardization and all of that, we would be doing and seeking consultation elsewhere for us to get training.
But then, Jackie, you're saying that we have been getting ready.
Listen,
so how come we have two such...
Can I point out something?
Well, let me just say,
Let me
Jackie,
answer
then,
first.
and then you... Yeah.
Okay. I was referring to the association to which I'm attached.
Okay.
The Ganja Growers and Producer Association and its members have been to a level, been in preparation. Maybe not so much on the farming side because of our lack of expertise in the parishes, but certainly on the business side and how to operate within us a space that the ganja industry falls into, we have been informing our members. Right?
Okay.
So this may be vary from parish to parish.
To parish, all
and,
right.
and the competence and so on of the various associations.
All right, I see, Marcia, you've knitted brow and everything. What's it mean? Let me sort this. Yes, go ahead, Marcia.
We are in the country area where we have small farmers, and we know at one stage prior to now, only people who are at the bottom would turn to farming. So what Mr. Horton is saying, probably in where he is at.
He's in St. Mary.
He's in St. Mary, but he's attached to Kingston. So probably they have the business meeting, but the farmers are not from Kingston. They're from the country.
I hear you loud and clear. Yes, Ivy.
I would have touch this before I really got to what I really want to say. In that, the whole process of advocacy started with parish to parish. Westmoreland started it, and then other parishes. Now, what I trying to do, or what we're trying to do here now, is to get a coalition, which is the different parishes, or association in different parishes coming together and working together. Now, some of the parishes, for example, like Kata point out, we have done workshop in Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Hanover. I mean, like with the future growers, they have done things other places. What is needed is for all the different associations to, even if they don't organize. Let me finish.
Is there and has there ever been a conflict between the future growers and the original growers?
No, I don't see a conflict.
It
right?
sounds like there might have been though.
No.
Let I just point out something.
Yeah.
It is different organization, but I'm sure we are singing the same song in terms of defending the rights of our grassroots farmers to not just to participate, but to control industry.
The future. I want to talk about future growers. Because future in itself is a word that suggests that you're planning to become growers.
Sorry to interrupt you,
Yeah.
but we did drop the future from the
I know that it is no longer future growers, but it started out that way.
Yes.
And I'm asking as a journalist standing up in a MySpace that it seems to me that if you had original growers, then you had. Is that what it meant?
No, make a point out something.
Okay.
Westmoreland started. Westmoreland, the first Ganja Farmers Association.
You were future growers too?
No.
Okay.
Right? And then what was known as future grads came about after.
Yeah.
But you had organization in different parishes becoming a part of what would call future grads. Just as how you have different organization in different parishes that was not a part of Westmoreland Association, but we went there and helped to start, for example, even St. Anne here, even in Trinidad. One thing I would like to point out, Carbon, this is very serious and important for our people to understand that from a CLA point of view, the CLA is not just there to satisfy GA people or grassroots people, even though that is very, very, very important.
What has been communicated?
Let me finish now. Let me finish.
Abby, you see, I hear
no,
what
let me just finish.
What is being communicated to the farmers is a question I'm asking. What is it that the farmers have been told? And Celia talked about the expectations of the farmers. So I am saying, how were those expectations managed? Because the point you're making, see Marcia nodding our head here when we're talking about the expectations of the farmers. We can't knock people over the head and say them no if they did not know. If the expectations weren't properly managed, how are we going to accuse the people for not knowing?
All right, Cabo, let me finish, right? What I want to point out to is that, like Kathy point out, certain things in the regulation is a must. Because whether Jamaica want to or not.
Well, Ivy, you're missing the point, though.
Coming back to you now.
Hold a sec there. Hold on. Yeah. You're taking a long time to come to the point. Let me just go over to because we're going to break and come back and come forward to the team from Mr. So we spoke to Mr. Donovan White from Trelawney. Mr. White.
Yes. The problem that I have with the regulation, you see.
Yeah.
Well, let us start from a business standpoint now.
Yeah.
Cathy mentioned half an acre to the CLA the other day, which I agree with that. But let us go back to a business standpoint. The cooperative is the way for the small man. If it takes 5 people to deal with a half an acre of marijuana, then I strongly believe that 10 people should come together as a co-op and deal with an acre. You see, this is a new industry. There's a lot of people out there who used to hide in the hills and do it illegal. No, we are trying to go the right path. Let us form teams. Yeah. Let us share. Let us try and pull together. Mm-hmm. We can make it happen, you know. But if we are going to break away as individuals, sometimes it is not going to happen.
But I thought I heard that there's a thrust note for a national coalition in terms of the different organizations coming together. Am I right?
All right.
Since morning here, did
yes, we have. Okay. All right. There is the GGPA. There is the National Coalition. Right. There is a difference between the two organizations. The National Coalition is for educating our grassroots people and advocacy at the grassroots level, meaning that those farmers who are unable to come to meetings within the parish, within St. Elizabeth, within Santa Cruz, then, where we keep our general meeting the 3rd Saturday of every month. There are farmers who, you understand how Jamaican is. There are farmers who will not come out of a compound town to come to these meetings. What the National Coalition do is go in there and try. Listen, this is an industry that we have always feared. The farmers have been under fear for 50 years in Jamaica. It takes a time to break that culture. So you have to have some kind of organization that digs deep into those mountains. Show the farmer what are the benefits are becoming legal. The benefits are becoming legal is to turn them into entrepreneurs. It's not only growing flowers, it's extraction methods. You need to teach we are teaching our farmers to do simple extraction so they can have byproducts where the money is. So we have to teach them so like that.
So that there's a national coalition that is doing that.
Cabo, the national coalition, like Kathy is pointing out, certain parishes have started certain things. Now, that coalition now is to bring that which we have started in different parishes like Westmoreland, Sensbeth and Hanover to the other parishes then. So the training, we have certain responsibility to ourselves to train and organize, and what we can get. We talk to whether you take or so on and so on, but we have a responsibility.
So is that an umbrella group now, the National Coalition? Yes, and there's no other, that's it?
Just to add, as the representative for the Ganja Growers and Producers Association here, we have more or less been doing the same thing over a number of years.
And that's different from a national coalition?
Well, we are the advocacy group that was at one time, in addition to Westmoreland Association, the only ones advocating. Now it has broadened and it is welcome. This sort of joint movement is welcome.
All right.
There's work going on in all sorts of different areas.
It is Running African, and we're talking about the cannabis regulations. The Jamaica Cannabis Licensing Authority has published on its website the application checklist and procedures, and many questions arising out of that. So we have in the studio with us the representatives of many of the different organizations across the island, ganja growers. We have Maple Gray, St. Mary National Coalition of Ganja Farmers, Mark Green out of Trelawney, Green Dreams Agro, and member of the National Coalition of Ganja Farmers. We also have Donovan White of Trelawney, Green Dreams Agro. In the studio, IRV, who is the chairman of Westmoreland Hemp and Ganja Farmers, Kathy Lennon, president of the St. Bess Hemp and Ganja Farmers. IRV is also chairman of the National Coalition of Ganja Farmers, and Kathy Lennon, co-chair of the National Coalition. And Kathy, a whole lot of stuff, so we're not going to read all of them. All right, Sister Marcia Davis is treasurer for the St. Anne Botanical and Agro-Processing Cooperative and member of the National Coalition of Ganja Farmers. Ras Amin is also from the St. Anne Botanical Agro-Processing Cooperative. He is the president. Jackie Horton is a member of the advocacy group, National Alliance for the Legalization of Ganja. He's also a member of the Ganja Growers and Producers Association Steering Committee. And Celia, whose name is not on the list, is also in the house with us. And we wanted to ensure that we had everybody in before 9 o'clock. So let's go to St. Elizabeth. We haven't heard from St. Elizabeth yet in terms of, Central at least, in terms of how, what are the challenges and your own response to the conversation that has gone on here so far. What are your views on some of the issues raised?
Thank you, Andrea. Okay. This is very new and uncharted territory for Jamaica right now. The regulations was crafted from the aspect of this plant is dangerous and regarding international treaties that we have signed up to. So therefore the regulation was crafted around that. Now, I think as the scientific evidence unveil and reveals that this plant is not as harmful and as dangerous as it seems to be. And for its medicinal benefits, as the world get an understanding how medicinal this plant is, then the whole concept, the whole regulation as how to deal with it will change. So I'm not too greatly worried because it is the weed and its benefit medicinally that will change the whole concept of how we look at it. So I'm not too worried because as it unfolds, the whole way we look at it will change.
All right. So as it is now, the regulations that we're seeing, and it will change based on what are you saying? Because you talked about the international treaties and so on, and I heard Kathy just talk about there's minor things can be changed, but there are some of the major issues in there that will remain because of the international treaties that we've signed on to.
Right, that is one. But as I said, as we get more knowledge of its scientific and medicinal benefits
over time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happens in the short right. term for farmers and the concerns that person have regarding cost?
Okay. That is a factor, but right now, as it says, it's an interim regulation.
Okay.
So as we maintain the lobbying process, we could continue to make changes as we go along.
All right, and I heard IRV, I heard you also saying, you said this at the beginning, that, and you have 2 minutes to respond, and then we go to news and come back, that change will come. As it is now, you are anticipating that change.
And change will come, Cabo, not because authorities that be want change, but because we, the people, demand that change have to come. Right? So people's power is the greatest power, and that's why we have to unite as a people around it and tell the government what it is that we as traditional ganja farmers want. And what we want is for this industry to remain in the hands of traditional grassroots ganja farmers and for them to be financed, to be equipped with the necessary technology so that they can bring the standard that is required internationally to become a reality.
Do you see that? I see you nodding, Jackie. You see that as a possibility that there's people power that can bring some changes to bear on the current regulations?
Listen, people power has done some tremendous things in the history of the world, and we don't see why this should be any different. Let me just add quickly that as you look at this group gathered here this morning, how powerful we are. There are some very powerful people here. Kathy herself, Ivy, Celia, Sister Marcia, Ras Amin. I mean, and our brethren in studio.
Yes.
Listen, we have a very powerful organization of ganja farmers and producers. I remember, let us not leave out producers. There are business people involved in all this too. The spaces, there are value added. There's a lot of different industries that are sub-industries that are going to spring out from this. Let us spread the word.
I'm going to cut you in the middle just
the word is unity.
When from a soundtrack, When We Were Kings, you know, just Muhammad Ali's on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
In every heart there is a drum that beats steady and strong. It does not know defeat. I feel it high and know the sound of truth. In every soul there is a memory, a standing tall, the proudest we could be. I cannot fall, for I recall we were born in majesty. And when the long night has been fought and won, we'll stand in the sun, and we will raise our hands, and we will touch the sky. Together we will dance in rows of gold, and we will lead the world remembering when we were kings, when we were kings. Now is the time, here is the mountain top, when one man climbs, the rest are lifted up. When every day we're closer, yeah, to a higher destiny. And when we reach out to claim the throne, every man will know. And we will raise our hands, and we will touch the sky. Together we will dance in rows of gold, and we will lead the world remembering when we were kings, when we were kings.
All right, the sound of Diana King there with Brian McKnight. When We Were Kings. From the soundtrack, When We Were Kings. Biopic of Muhammad Ali. Float like a butterfly. Sting like a bee. right, loving that one. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. All right, thank you so much. We're back with you inside of the Africa Forum. And we're talking about Jamaica's cannabis industry regulations, applications, moving the industry forward is the title of the document from the Cannabis Licensing Authority. Quite a few questions online. What's the website for the Cannabis Licensing Authority? All right, we'll get that for you in a little while and announce that. All right, welcome back. We are still here with our very important panel, distinguished panel. We have in the house Celia Francis from the National Coalition, North St. Catherine, Herbal Agro-Processing, and also Maple Gray, St. Mary National Coalition of Ganja Farmers, Mark Green, Trelawney, Green Dreams Agro, and member of the National Coalition of Ganja Farmers, Donovan White, out of Trelawney, Green Dreams Agro, IFV, who is the chairman of the Westmoreland Hemp and Ganja Farmers Association, the first Ganja Farmers Association to be established in the island, as a matter of fact, also the chairman of the National Coalition of Ganja Farmers and Producers. Kathy Lennon is president of the St. Bess Hemp and Ganja Association, co-chair for the National Coalition of Ganja Farmers and Producers, CEO of KML Agro Consulting Professional Services, advocate for 25 years, and expert farmer for 25 years. We have Sister Marcia Davis with us. She is the treasurer for the St. Anne Botanical and Agro-Processing Cooperative and member of the National Coalition of Ganja Farmers. She's also a farmer. Ras Amin Ra Abba Selassie is the president for the St. Anne Botanical and Agro-Processing Cooperative, ABS member of the Jamaica Agricultural Society, and also a farmer. Jackie Horton is member of the advocacy group National Alliance for the Legalization of Ganja, member of the Ganja Growers and Producers Association Steering Committee, and elected president of the St. Mary Ganja Growers and Producers Association. We're having this conversation this morning against the background of the recently published documents or released documents on the website of the Cannabis Licensing Authority. Documents, the pre-licensing inspection criteria, and also the regulations and applications. Lots of questions from our listeners, lots of questions from persons who are concerned about how do we actually move forward. I'm gonna go back and start off with you, Ivy, because you were trying to make a point twice, actually, which you hadn't quite finished. So I'm going to give you some time to kind of go back to those two points. One, the one you left off, which is to say that even though we have identified some of these issues with the from the CLA, that there will be change through people power. How you envision that change, and then to make your wider point.
Well, one of the responsibility that the parish association have taken on is to mobilize ganja farmers in each parishes. These parishes, for example, some of them, most of these parishes have membership within the coalition. So the other avenue is that the CLA will be having town hall meetings. So at these town hall meetings is for the different parish association to organize themselves, prepare themselves with the questions and proposals and recommendations that they have within themselves. Having done that, the CLA now will have to analyze everything that has been presented to them. Failure for them to act or to administrate in the interest and benefit of what has been recommended to them on behalf of the people. Then we as a people in different parishes will have, naturally, who are together already, will have to continue, look at everything that is happening and take the necessary stand and do the necessary things in order to ensure that what we envision from a people's point of view in the interest and benefit of our people is that which is being put in place by the CLA. The CLA chairman has made it very clear, and I being a part, I know what has taken place, but she has made it very clear that when whatever the CLA is going to do, the CLA needs to have the backing and the support of the different parishes, organization at a grassroots level.
Is there any concern, or are there any concerns, Jackie Horton, as far as competition is concerned, competition from foreign investors? And what would those concerns be? You can pull the microphone closer to you, Jackie, because I realize it's a bit...
Okay. Competition. We are not going to, I think, and I'm speaking here, out of term because we haven't had a chance to take a consensus, but we don't envision competition right now to be a problem at this point in the development. As IRV just said, and as we have all discussed and agreed on, our focus right now is on getting our internal affairs in order. Mm-hmm. Just to add to what IRV just said, town hall meetings, which were a part of the original set of agreements that the CLA former board were mandated to have, are going to be broader than just the three mentioned here. Because as I understand it, they are going to be parish town hall meetings as well. Mm-hmm. Especially in the East, where we are not, there were three mentioned, Mandeville, Mobe, and Kingston. And we thought that we in the East were left out. They have now organized a wider parish town hall meetings. Mm-hmm. Competition as such from abroad, in what area?
Well, it's in all the areas, and especially in terms of the what you're going to be exporting. It seems to me as if there is, and I've heard this conversation, that people feel that, all right, so the conglomerates can come in and they can identify the farms.
Let me just point out that, as I understand it, the regulations clearly state that overseas investors have a certain procedure to follow. And IRV can back me up on this and elaborate maybe on what exactly the regulation speaks to in terms of overseas investors, overseas participants in the space. Yeah?
You have info, IRV? Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to add before we go. On an international topic, I have a wider concern about the section of the regulation that speaks to criminal records. Now, we in the GGPA have found it that this point needs to be addressed. The regulations state in one section that people with overseas related records have a very difficult time in entering the space. There's a time frame given where convictions are concerned, and we also, since IRV is going to maybe fill up what I just said, just to mention where this is concerned. And as he has already said, there's going to be space for reconstruction of these elements. But,
And then what about overseas, not overseas, conviction, prison records as it relates to the local records?
Right.
Persons who would have gone to prison for ganja, for example.
Look at that quickly. Add that from any point of view, whether from national or international point of view. What the CLA had been discussing that people with over, for example, 5 years conviction, whether for drugs or anything, right? That these people should not be eligible to get license. My point of view, I see it different, because my thing on the board is that if a man went to prison for ganja, right? How is it that now that the industry is about to be legalized, that he would not be entitled to getting a license, but the Prime Minister who sent him to prison can get a license, right? So these are questions that, these are the town hall meeting and the people's pressure again that will have to turn on onto these administration. Because sometimes when you bring up certain things, the question is, are you going to jeopardize the industry because of so? No, it's not. I'm not trying to jeopardize the industry, but I'm not trying to defend justice to those who have suffered for this all over these years.
All right, Mr. I'm going to come to you, Kathy. Mr. Green and a representative from Donovan White, Mr. Gray, any comments on that?
Yes, as far as we go, I tend to agree with Russ IV. I think people are welcome to come into this industry regardless of what, because you suffered for this. Now everybody deserves a second chance. Now you want to get rid of the illegal market. Now when you shut these people out, you force them back into the illegal, and we're trying to clean up the industry. So you have to make it so these people can come in and be a part of what we are doing. All of we've been fighting for this, struggling with it over all these years.
And you're speaking specifically to those who would have gone to prison, served time for either possession of cultivating of ganja.
Yes, and for everyone to get involved into the ganja industry. This is the new industry. This is the new way for Jamaica.
Mr. Gray?
I would have to agree with my colleagues because it don't make sense. Somebody have done a long period of time for a ganja and come out and can't get a license to cultivate it. That person would have turned back now on the illegal side to hide and cultivate it, and we don't want that. We want everybody to join together and try to make it much better.
Donovan White?
Yes. What I'm looking at, it have to be about the state of the crime. What was you convicted for? And you know, I what they are saying is that if you'd done the crime over 10 years ago, then you will be okay. But it still stipulate that what was the nature of the crime. So I think the government should really look into that and see how they can really work out something so these people can be involved. Because back then it was illegal.
Delroy?
I'll have to agree with my colleagues. You cannot pay the price twice, and I think if they exclude you, you are paying the price twice. So I'd have to definitely agree with my colleagues on that. You cannot afford to pay the price for something you done once and you're going to pay for it twice.
Is that one of the things one of the points on the regulation that is non-negotiable, do you think? Because we talk about the minor things that can be changed, but then there are some bigger things, major things that will have to remain as is because of international regulations. Would this be one of them that can be changed?
I personally think this is an issue that can be dealt with. And I would like to point out something to you, Nakaba, because what GAA people don't realize is that the Jamaican government over the years has made it much harder than what is there in the international regulation, For example, there had never been anything against medicinal marijuana in the international regulation or the international convention that they have signed on to. It's the Jamaican government, PNP and JLP, who have implemented those laws against our people, that if them catch you with some green herb, then they ask you where you're going to do with it. Then they send you down to jail. So
Celia, I saw you nodding earlier. Oh, you're agreeing with what Ivy is saying?
Totally. And I'm also saying that in the interest of social justice, if someone has served the time, they should be given the opportunity to come out and straighten out their lives and be involved in the process.
How do you propose? All right, let me let you respond because you've been trying to respond there, Kathy. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. First of all, the CLA has a mandate for the industry. Their hands are tied somewhat where the International Narcotics Board is concerned.
Well, we were told that last week, that's true, from the chairman.
Right. Yes. However, the CLA also pointed out that they will do if there is an issue that you have. Say you have a conviction for carrying 2 pounds of herbs from St. Elizabeth to Kingston, and it's on your record in the last year. If you read the regulation, you might be out. But they also say they will deal with individuals on a one-on-one basis to show that is not to show for you to plead your cause. So they are open for discussion as well on this matter. But you have to remember there has...
But shouldn't that have been dealt with on block? I mean, am I speaking out of turn?
On block.
When I'm talking about, all right, here's a situation where you are now decriminalizing ganja, but you have generations of young people and not so young people and in between who have served prison time for ganja, the same ganja that decriminalizing, and for the same reasons that you have decriminalized. So my question is, shouldn't it have been discussed at the beginning what would happen to these people in retrospect, those who now have a criminal record having served time for possession of or cultivation of ganja?
It was discussed. That is the reason why the CLA...
What was it dealt, but what happened?
But that is the reason why the CLA has put out that...
Before the decriminalization?
Yes. No. After the decriminalization, while the regulations were being made.
Well, I meant before the decriminalization or outside of the regulations, So you're decriminalizing the weed now, to some extent. But you still have persons who you have criminalized for possession of the weed that you have now decriminalized.
No, they have...
all right, let me just quickly respond. Being there on the CLA, right?
But this now not to do with the CLA, I'm talking at the Mark Golding level,
Sorry, let me just clarify that. I think as a part of the decriminalization process, expungement is a factor.
But it's not decided on?
Yes.
Yeah, but that's a small amount.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of previous?
Yes. For minor offenses.
That missed me totally.
One can have it expunged.
One can have it expunged?
Yes. And it is happening right now.
Yes.
It is happening right now.
It's at a steering committee level. The GGPA had passed this information on to its parish representatives.
That's not in a public sphere, though.
Well, we have tried to make it public.
Andrea, sorry. I think the Ministry of Justice had made provision for expungement of record of such, yes.
Yes, and Mr. Golding had spoke about it on other programs. This government has also spoke about it. It's actually in existence for more than 6 months. Yes. People have been going in and getting their records
clean. Their record expunged?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
so that
for minor.
But
for minor?
That is what must be known.
What does minor mean?
Small amount, like 2 ounces but not for smuggling or them things,
Not for 100
Not for cultivation.
Not for 100 pound to Haiti.
Well, Haiti or not, I mean, I'm just talking about cultivating ganja. I mean, if decriminalized, it's decriminalized.
No,
I mean,
no, they're looking at it. That has always been my question, right? If you use the term decriminalized, practice what you are talking about. I mean, that is not being practiced in Jamaica, right? So, but again, Cabo, I am always going to say the outcome of the industry largely depend on how much grassroots people and grassroots ganja farmers can organize themselves. So I will always encourage farmers out there to put themselves in cooperatives, become united, and demand what you want from the administration.
We were saying that there were some questions that we were seeing on the social media, and we'll try and get to those also as we go to the phone lines. Hotep? Hello. Yes, go ahead, caller. Good morning.
Hi, morning, Cabo.
Yes.
This whole legislation with the ganja industry. What about the hemp? I see that the commission is not dealing with the hemp, and the hemp is basically is where the money is at.
All right. Yes. You want to respond to that, Kathy? Go ahead. Yes.
All right, thank you, caller. Hemp in two terms. You have industrial hemp and you have CBD strains hemp, which is less than 2.5% THC. At this present moment, we cannot. The hemp has never been grown in Jamaica. The industrial hemp. If you carry hemp in the Jamaican space, cross-pollination, if not handled properly, will cause a lot of problem with our own cultivars. You are introducing a new species. Without control, you can have a problem. However, for industrial hemp, and I state industrial hemp to make sense, we have to grow that in large volume, right? We don't have the space right now for that.
Really?
No, yes, for large volumes. The cost to process hemp to make material or other stuff. I'm not talking about the CBD strains hemp. I'm talking about industrial hemp that make the shoes that Adidas
When you say we
use.
don't have the space, what you mean?
Well, yeah.
We're all right. Our agricultural space, we have to have.
All right, so we lost our caller, but I know he's listening.
All right, we have to have a lot of space, meaning acres to do hemp. If we have the acres, say for instance we have the acres, convert the cane fields to hemp then, so to speak, because the sugar industry is in a issue. What it will do, cross-pollination will destroy our own cultivars that we have. And these cultivars that we have, the regular THC herb, will be the money. It will be the issue. It will be the money maker in the year 2020, 2018.
Do we have a similar concern with GMOs?
All right, the similar concern with GMOs. And the next thing again, hemp, industrial hemp can't survive in this kind of heat. It is more onto a cooler environment. Dr. David West of the hemp industry in America, he's one of the most renowned plant scientists on hemp. We had a conversation. We had a conversation. That kind of industrial hemp to survive in Jamaica, you won't get a good production.
All right, let's take another call. Hello, caller. Good morning. Hello.
Hello, is that me?
Yes, your turn.
Okay, good morning. I just have a few comments. First of all, I would like to see them publish these so-called international regulations, because everybody keeps talking about them. I have some experience with the ganja growers in Northern California. There is no requirement for any form of fencing at all. There is no requirement for any kind of cameras.
This is Naomi, right, Naomi?
Yeah.
Are you welcome? But no requirement for cameras. But we're being told
Nothing, not at all.
We're being told that this is the requirement for camera in our case for surveillance is coming directly from international standards.
Really? Well, I know personally that there is no requirement for that in California. I cannot speak for any other state in the States, but the fees here should, number one, not be in U.S. dollars. They should be commensurate with our economy, not some foreign economy.
Yeah.
Foreign investors should be allowed only after every Jamaican who wants to get in on it has gotten in on it. Then foreigners can get in. Anybody who wants to export the product, which I don't see a really huge market there because in so many other places it's already becoming legal. But the person who wants to export it, the foreigner, they should have to bear all the paperwork and fees and everything else. They come here, buy the product, and then they are required to take care of the rest.
All right.
In Colorado, I can tell you that they put such a huge tax on the legal herb that there is still a black market in Colorado.
All right. And
so they have taxed them, they have made the fees so bad that they are perpetuating the black market.
And I saw there are persons who are commenting on that in a similar way online. All right. First, I have two responses. First, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I love this caller. You make my what I was gonna say. You say everything out of my mind, right? And these are what the most of the farmers that I meet. I have over 300 farmers in St. Ann, and these are what concern of them, and some of your argument about this thing, this is what they also know, because I have ones in California, Colorado, and these are what they are saying. So I am agreeing. I agree with what you're saying.
All right, your response, Kathy.
All right, the stipulation for fencing is for two reasons: to protect your plants from animals, and the other one is to protect your plants from theft. From theft.
The only animal in Jamaica that would maybe eat a ganja plant,
It's
and
not
I don't even know this, is a goat.
No, it's not eating. It's where they can come and defecate or urinate in the field, and then when you carry your plants for testing, these things will show up.
No, that's just manure. That's just manure, animal manure. And most of those animals would just eat plants.
All right. So that is one of the reasons. The other reason is that America doesn't have a problem with the transshipment of drugs. That was why the stipulation came through as having a bio-tracking system, because Jamaica has a problem internationally. That's what, when we had this conversation with the CLA and the representative from out of the chambers that is on the CLA, that was one of the reason why we are having so much difficulty, because we have a history of having a transshipment within the Caribbean. So they are looking at, say, we have to show the world how can we secure this industry from that.
What about the surveillance, the camera?
So the surveillance is a part of that, of the security system. But there's in the regulation it said other methods.
Because we have other callers holding and more comments to come in. Naomi, give you 30 seconds to respond.
Okay, first of all, this is all because it's still listed under the Dangerous Drugs Act. It needs to be removed from that. It's a medicine.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Naomi. All right. On Facebook, Full Circle Music says, why not go to the present farm and make them legal first, then give newcomers after?
All right. There's something I would like to respond to quickly. In that,
you want to respond to that particular question?
Yeah.
Because we don't want to miss it, because
I could respond to that, right? The fact that, one, again, we have to refer to Jamaica obligation to international law. Does that match up to what is there that Jamaica must live up to from an international INCB point of view? I don't think so. Right. The other thing is that I want to point out that I have been in Colorado, right? And what I saw in Colorado, I went to the biggest grow house in Colorado, and there were cameras every room that you went into. There were cameras, and these cameras, all of them were fed into government department where they compete.
Well, we know now Ms. Zuckerman is very, very active. She's an American. And she's talking from her own personal experience as an American.
From California, but I'm telling you.
She said California, yes.
Right, she said California. So I'm telling you my experience in Colorado, right? And from what I know, there are certain things that are required.
Point taken. What about the question from Full Circle Music, which we have passed now? What did he ask again? Why not go to those farms before? Go to the local farms? And
I think
you answered that. Okay.
All right, the local farms. Why can't we go to the local farms and start build out from there? That's where the question is. We are doing an organic industry. Most of the local farms, their soil has in Roundup and glyphosate and all of these herbicides. We don't want to start the industry there, because for to be still sustainable in the market, we need.
But you have a lot of them that don't contain that, because you have a lot of people who don't use them stuff, right?
You have probably few, because guess what? You have probably few. Only through testing, a farmer will say, my herb,
but even then,
organic.
But even
testing
then,
will show that it has a lot of salts and chemicals.
But even then, so test then, go and test then, and eliminate as you will. You're nodding your head there, Marcia. Which one of us you're agreeing with, me or Kathy?
I'm agreeing with you. They should give them a chance. Test, and then if you're not up to standard, show them how.
Okay, Nani Kabu.
Hey, greetings.
Yeah, and here, brethren, I can't tell you how totally devastated I am, and absolutely appalled at this website publication, because it is fraught with the demeanor of we versus them. There's no desire whatsoever to assist anyone at the ones at the lower end of the financial scale in Jamaica. There's no recognition or realization of the dire straits of the common man in his attempt to survive, because he can't. A most common man person can't even buy food or send their children to school, much more to find taxi fare to attend a marijuana meeting. Thus, unity and coalition is totally stymied. There is no remorse whatsoever on the part of the administration for all the brutality and murder of those defending marijuana over the decades. This is an institution of an oppressive fee schedule which literally excludes the traditional ganja farmer, who should at this point be glorified for his persistence and under brutal conditions. This is absolute high-handed and obnoxious attitude of the administration to assume such power over our marijuana industry in the light of its, that is the JLPNP's previous oppressive opposition. I tell you, right now, all of you people that are in these organizations should reject totally the schedule placed on the website. And we should demand a moratorium for at least 5 years on all costs and fees, so that the small man may line up himself and get off the ground in terms of, number one, establishing himself, and number two, getting accustomed to all these stupid rules and regulations that administration seems to think is necessary. And I want to say that this is only a reflection of the same slavery thing coming from long ago, of keeping those on top and not releasing the small man. Where is the prosperity? I cannot accept this. I'm totally devastated by it.
You know, Carla, I agree with everything you've said, 100%. And I think there are quite a few agreeing with you in the studio too. He's made some really salient points, especially the point on the moratorium, on the fees and so on, to allow the local farmers to at least get a footing to be able to compete.
Those are recommendations that I have suggested, and the previous administration had also recommended that a 2 or 3 year moratorium should be given for Jamaican planters to catch themselves.
Is off the table?
No, I don't know what this present administration will be doing, but I'm saying whatever it takes. Again, I will always refer to that. Whatever it takes, we have to ensure that Jamaican people, because as for me, I would recommend 5 years. Any company want to come from overseas, come down here, come to business, do business with some GAA people, with GAA people controlling the majority of the shares of whatever.
Yes, Jackie.
That is how I see it.
Yes, I think I personally made a point earlier that the CLA board has said they are just not certain if this Ministry of Finance will honor the gains made by the associations with the former Minister of Finance. And, you know, whereas I agree with the caller in most of his pronouncements, we have to also look at this in a realistic space. We emotionally, yes, you know, but we have to look at the things that govern us.
What is the reality that
the reality is that we exist in a state of government, right? We are not just as a free spiritual set of people that, you know, we have constraints. We are amongst a third world set of nations, and we have the pressure on our backs. But
how does that, just one sec, hold your point, but how does that then negatively impact what he has just said?
I did not say negatively.
No, because you said emotionally. Look at it realistically as opposed to emotionally.
Well, you have heard his comments.
No, but his comments, they're realistic comments.
Okay.
Even though he said them with passion, they're pretty realistic.
Okay.
What?
Fairly, but we have governance ordinance to adhere to, and rules and regulations, whether we like them or not.
And that's why I'm asking you, what in particular would which one of the points, because you said you agreed most of them, which of the points then would merit the reality check?
I think the whole reference to the procedure and the CLA board's capacity. Okay? The board was established to regulate the industry in a sense. We have to have regulatory measures. Now, we all agree that they are oppressive in parts, right? But we have to work them out, as we have said over and over, one by one, timely, and we can. Well, revolution. I don't know. You know.
All right. So let me just let him come back now. Yeah, caller.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Can I continue a little
Yes,
bit?
go ahead. Yes.
The rules and regulations that are stuffing down the people's throats are too soft and too many and too complicated for us to just deal with all of a sudden. It's necessary to think about marijuana. But I need to make also this point. All of the international great philosophical commercial thinkers realize that for our new century, without the upliftment of the poor, commerce cannot develop. Even the rich depend on the poor for this in this regard. We need to lift the poor up. Then the poor man can go and buy some toothpaste and some shoe polish.
We're going to leave it there.
Then the rich man will do better.
Thank you for your intervention. Thank you so much. All right.
Cabo, there's something
Yes, go
I would
ahead,
like to point out, right? That there's a lady on the board, Dr. Kathy Ann Brown, the Deputy Solicitor General of Jamaica, is a woman that I will big up. I'm proud of her. I have gone to the UN and hear that woman speak, and while while the CLA board is recommending certain things, there is agitation on the international scale or in the national scene by Jamaica to change the international regulation or to revisit the international convention, and they are not doing it. Jamaica is not just doing it single-handedly, but with other countries
Naomi
that think
Zuckerman made a
similarly.
point just now, and she said publish the international standards. Those regulations need also to be published, or at
Right.
least made available, so that we can make those
Compare,
comparisons.
right.
Just before you, Sila, do you want to jump in here?
I'm totally agreeing with what you said a while ago in making the regulations, international requirements public so people can better understand.
Right, because we're being told that we're meeting international standards, but some of these international standards are really codex standards, and codex is not concerned with food security. Codex is more concerned with for them own thing. So I'm saying if we're coming from that, then we also need to know where we stand in the whole process. We see a similar thing happening on the continent of Africa. It is not rocket science. It will go where it is being programmed to go, which is programming out the masses of the people. Any responses from Studio B? Mr. Barrett? I see you grab the microphone. Yes.
Okay, I'm wondering, can we have a national standard which governs the operations of ganja within Jamaica, and also have a standard that meet international criteria? And as the Minister of Foreign Affairs said, the whole international standard our international regulation is dated. It today will not stand up to, as I say again, scientific evidence, because when they had at the time signed the conventions, they didn't have the evidence that they have today. So as the minister said before, the whole standard is dated.
Well, and I hear from here that these are being looked at again. Let's go back to the phone lines. Hello, caller. Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Yes, good morning, Sister Cabo.
Hi, what up are you doing?
Right, Millie Reds on the line here.
Give thanks.
Now, I've been listening for several months about this ganja regulation things, and on many occasions I've heard that there have been no license issued to any entity in that regard. Am I correct?
Well, I was told that last week by the chairman that no license was issued.
What I am looking at here is a copy of the publication of the Jamaican Gazette supplement, dated September 24, 2015, where this company called Timeless Herbal Care Limited.
Yes, I asked about them last week. I was told no
They were
license.
issued a license signed by Minister Philip Palwell on the 18th of September 2015, and all parts of their regulations and so forth is listed on this document. And repeatedly I keep hearing that there have been no license issued.
So Timeless is from Canada, right?
Yeah, I can explain
not sure.
something. I can explain something to that.
Okay.
I can explain something
So
to
who's
that.
Timeless?
Timeless Herbal Care is controlled or owned by a brother named Courtney Betty.
But he's from Canada.
You know, he was born here, but
It's a Canadian company.
Yeah. But
I don't want nobody to tell me nothing about
no. Hold on,
that
please,
is a
please.
Canadian company.
That is not the point. The point is
What
that
is the
he
point?
had not been given a license.
Okay,
There's
well,
a
he said-
difference. We are not pleased.
What is he
But I am pointing out to you right
hold
here
on,
that
caller,
I
hold
have
on.
a copy of the license that was issued
No,
to
hang on. Let us hear what
There's
I
a difference,
yeah.
right? There is what is known as a license and there's what is known as an order. The University of the West Indies got an order. UTEC got an order. Timeless got an order through Palwell Ministry at the time. The CLA board, the Cannabis Licensing Authority board, has never and has not issued a license.
All right, go ahead, Jackie.
Yeah, let me
Just
clarify.
just
Let me
a
clarify.
minute, caller. Yeah.
The Ministry of Energy and Mining, whatever, does not have the capacity to issue a license in this space. What they have and what they have done is that they have had the capacity to issue orders, as IRV just said, for research and development. Now, research and development, as it is on the books and which was on the cards to be changed by the former administration, had to be perpetuated through a learning institution. Okay?
The Timeless is a
Timeless has been issued an order through the University of the West Indies, just like Sativa.
Are you sure about that?
I am sure about that. Just
Okay.
like Sativa, because Honorable Powell did not have the capacity to issue any other document. So what he's calling a license.
So
was an order.
we can grant an order?
No. The person granted an order for research and development up until now and before there are any other changes had to do this through a learning institution, i.e. UTEC, University of the West Indies, University of whatever. So then it's just a misunderstanding of the wording.
Yeah, it sounds like semantics to me, but then...
Be it as it may, one is specifically for research and development,
right,
which has to be a forerunner to any industry.
Right, so exactly, and who gets it? Because Timeless is
the ones who I
definite-
presume have the capacity.
Well, yes, caller. So you're saying you're looking at a gazette, you're looking at the Jamaica Gazette, and you say that you're seeing Timeless being issued a license?
It is stated as an order, but it seems as if, as you say, semantics, because they are, the outline where they can, produce and carry out their thing. They do not have to have, they can have a licensed property.
But they
with
cannot
the
commercialize.
university outside.
They cannot
Okay.
commercialize. They cannot sell products.
Kabu.
Yes.
Those orders.
Thank you, caller.
Those
Thank you.
orders
All right.
came under research and development. Under research and development, there can't be no buying and selling. It's just like the sacrament. Under sacrament, there can't be no buying and selling. With export, I have to say something about export. At this time, Jamaica is not looking at export. The reason being, we have to clean up some things and stabilize ourselves internally before we can cross borders. And it has to be federal to federal. So even though Colorado is open, it's a state, we couldn't export to Colorado because we have to go through federal America first. So we are having the Jamaica and Canada now are having discussions, bilateral discussions for export back and forth. What we have a problem in Jamaica as stakeholders, as I was showing you before, what we have a problem here in Jamaica is the importation of products that we can develop here as grassroots people, just like Colorado. If you don't live in the state, you can't do business in the state.
So we have ganja products or
coming in
marijuana
illegally.
byproducts coming into the country
illegally.
Illegally?
Yes, that can. Look at what I have in my hand.
Right.
That can. We can produce very quickly ourselves at this stage. But if when the market opens up and we only have this small Jamaican market, which will be concentrated in the tourist industry, and we have somebody coming carrying in illegal, this will buy into our market as local
Where are they
producers.
coming from? Mainly?
They are coming
North
from
America?
all over the world.
Yeah.
I think, sorry, I think it was Cathy herself who made a point to the former chairman, Dr. Gordon, when he visited our steering committee. Why not put a halt on the products that are now on the shelves and let us, catch up?
No, but sorry, are they coming legally or
No, it could not be legal.
illegally?
Yeah. We're operating in an illegal space. So we had made a point at a steering committee to CLA meeting, which we had with the former board. Dr. Gordon at the time said, the industry has started. Am I correct, Cathy? Let us not disturb the industry, but play catch up. At the time, we were anticipating, therefore, interim license, so we could catch up. But we don't know where we are now with this, but it's a very, very vital point. There are things on the shelves all over, and the police is not going on India and taking them off.
We have seen many other.
But we are still destroying their
Yes, as a matter of fact, while the program has been going on, we have people sending
that make
pictures
it more
of a lot of them.
important. That make it more important why we as grassroots people have to control the industry here, because we can't export. So we can make foreigners come control whatever tourist market or whatever market.
Exactly, and with just 5 minutes left, or less than 5 minutes left in the program, actually, I just wanted to give everybody a final word, but for you also to say in that final word what you would like to see changed in terms of what we have on the books now, the regulations, and then also to give your points. And for the person from St. Elizabeth, there's a question Jamaica Thought is asking, when and where in Santa Cruz is the next meeting? So take that when it comes to. So I will start with, let me start with you, Cathy, in terms of your final words.
All right, my final words is, I am so pleased, as an advocate for 25 years, internationally and locally, I am so pleased that the National Coalition, the GGPA, can unite in looking at this industry from a regulatory point of view. That's a big plus. The second thing is, I am so pleased that the CLA has opened the space for the public to put their points in, and we have to make use of informed decisions. What I would like is when the CLA come around to do the consultation within the parishes, let us not spend too much time talking about how oppressed we are, but looking directly at the policies that will affect us and ask effective questions and make suggestions to your parishes.
All right.
My parish meeting is on the second. It is on the second Saturday of every month at the SDC Santa Cruz. My phone number is 291-1920.
All right. Go ahead, Jackie.
Let me just reiterate what Cathy has said. We have been partners on the steering committee for a number of years, and we are sitting beside each other in this room as representatives of two different associations. However, we are representing the same industry, and we both want a space in which the Jamaican farmer, and let us not forget, this industry is not only about farming. We have the business people, we have the retail license, they're equally important. We have the transportation license, and I am imploring people who are interested in the space, in the industry, to visit the CLA's website at www.cla.org.jm.
All right.
The Ganja Growers and Producers Association, as long-time advocates, welcome all inquiries to their meetings, and our St. Mary meeting is held on the third Sunday of each month, but we have given way to the mass parish town hall meeting date, which will be announced soon.
All right. I'm going to give you the last word. Celia?
I'm heartened that the CLA stated publicly on national TV that they are amenable to changes, and any change that is suggested, they will deal with it expeditiously. I'm really encouraged by that, and we will continue to educate our farmers and advocate for these things that we want to change.
All right, Marcia, thank you, Celia.
Okay, what I'd like to say...
Just come forward for me, please, Marcia.
What I'd like to say, we are here together, holding hands, unite for one cause, and all the grassroots farmers out there, we're asking them to be a little bit more patient. We'll get to them, we'll help them. We are trying to do everything that we can to empower them. We want to create some entrepreneurs out of some of them. Not everybody is going to plant, but there is space for all of us. So we have to join hands and heart and get this done.
Rasamin, thank you, Marcia.
Yeah, give thanks for the moment and the time. We have colleagues try to sensitize the whole country, grassroots farmers. I want to say quickly though, the CLA asks us in St. Anto make accommodation for them to hold a town hall meeting. They haven't given us the date yet, but we already hold the church hall, Anglican church hall in Brownstown for them to just give us the date. So we asking all the St. Ann grassroots farmers them to tune into your radio on your television and see when this date is announced. Grassroots farmers, we're there for you. Don't worry yourself, we're there for you, because this industry can't go on without you. And quickly, I see the government's counting how much $1 billion they will make out of this industry and things like that. But as the farmers, them say, all these regulations, you might be destroying the plant before it even grows. So we want to make out, we're glad for this forum that those who are listening, and we will be able to change some of these regulations. Give
All right,
thanks.
thank you. Maple Gray?
Yes, I would like to say to the farmers out there, all farmers, without joining together, this cannot come true. And I'd like farmers to know from the National College of Maple Gray, my meeting time is the first Monday of the month, and my phone number is 533-7143.
Thank you, Maple. Mike Green?
Yes, let me first say thank you to you and Irie for having us and giving us this exposure. I love what's going on with the ganja industry, and I want us to continue to push this. Being a part of the National Coalition, we go around educating farmers in every crevice, every corner of Jamaica that we can reach out to the people. You can contact us at 323-1035, and we can give you any information. We will exchange our Gmail address and everything for you guys. Whatever we can pass on to you, we're here. We're educating. We're trying to make sure that this industry don't slip away from us, and we're trying to make the best of it. This is going to change Jamaica, and we want y'all to come on board and make the change along with us.
All right, Donovan White?
Yes, just want to reach out to the CLA and its various ministries to review the regulations so it can be more accessible and applicable to the small man. So, they can also benefit from this industry.
Thank you, Donovan. Mr. Delroy Barrett?
Thanks very much. Right, I'd like to also thank RFM for this medium, for hosting us so we could let our voices be heard. So thanks to RFM again. I want to add that Manchester was one of the groups who was initially there when the beginning of the coalition took place. So I just want to say thanks to RFM again for hosting us. Our meetings are held in Manchester on the first Saturday of every month. So those are in Manchester.
Where in Manchester?
At the St. Michael's Academy. Thanks very much. Yeah.
All right, so go ahead, Ahmed.
Give thanks. I just want to give out our numbers here to the rest of farmers in St. Ann that we don't reach as yet. And my number as president is 835-9360, and the treasurer is here right with me. His number is more than one number.
Yeah.
To say it, treasurer's number
972-3551-873-7172.
Right, that's it, John. Yes, go ahead, Celia. Yes.
Celia, Celia Francis from the National Coalition in St. Catherine, representing North St. Catherine Herbal Agro Processors. Her telephone number is 789-7588 for further information. Thank you.
All right. Ivy, last one.
Yes, I really want to give thanks for everything that is happening within the industry, because I know where it's coming from. I give thanks for the gathering, give thanks also for the opportunity for us to be expressing ourselves and to make the farmers aware that there is a way out, but the only way out is for them as farmers to unite, to get together, to look for the association within their various parishes, and to make sure that they become educated about what is going on in the industry. Just stay one side and say, boy, the big man will take it over. The big man will take it over if we as grassroots people allow them to take it over. But if we are serious about taking what is ours, then we will do whatever is necessary to take what is ours.
Thank you so much, and don't be daunted by what you see on the website. The idea is to get in touch with your local groups and be part of those groups.
We will touch the sky. Together we will dance in love alone. And we will leave the world remembering where we were kings. When we were kings. Now is the time. Here is the mountain top. When one man climbs, the rest are lifted up. When the rest we're closer, yeah, to a higher.
Have a blessed day to you too, Ross Dowd. Okay, Ross Dowd, you say, my sister, I don't have much credit, but please read this statement. Please, Hotep Uncle Johnson. I love my mother, sister. I would like to say again, without apology, that until the Rastafari movement stand up for the undeniable indigenous rights and status as an indigenous nation, we will continue snatching crumbs from the political table. You said there's never been any intention to decriminalize, only recriminalize of the poor and grassroots people. I coined the term exploitation to express the fullness. Ras Dawud, thank you for writing in. Blessed love to you too, Amma Green.
We were born in majesty. And when the long night has been fought and won, we'll stand in the sun. And we will raise our hands, and we will touch the sky. Together we will dance in love alone. And we will leave the world remembering where we were kings. When we were kings. Now is the time. Here is the mountain top. When one man climbs, the rest are lifted up. When the rest